All right, let's go ahead and just get the preliminary stuff out of the way here first.
It was,
and get away with it.
It's very awkward and inappropriate.
it seems like the kind of joke someone would attempt.
All right, so there it is. You just saw it for yourself. That was the infamous kiss from YK Osiris to one Suki Hana that everybody is out here talking about a forced kiss. People, this is literally what it was. For those of you who didn't see it, who didn't know, this is literally what it was.
It was,
and get away with it.
It's very awkward and inappropriate.
it seems like the kind of,
Now, if you didn't know better, you would swear he had put the woman in a headlock. And you would swear that he was slobbering her down and licking all over her if you didn't know any better. That's what you would think had happened. And literally everything in the world is closer to the truth than that. But these are the times that we live in here. Exasperated and made worse, not just by a media apparatus, but by one Suki Hana herself. Now, what we're going to do here tonight is we're going to take a moment, because tonight is a teaching moment. Now, you know how things go after this. Tonight is a teaching moment. Now, I could do other things here. I'm not going to do that, but I could do other things. Other things that I'm not going to do. After all, I could go to Suki Hana's Twitter page. And show you exactly how she made her fame and, I guess, ostensible, maybe one day fortune. Who knows? It might get there. Who knows? Maybe. But just to show exactly what it is that she does and how it is that she gets down here. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this for a purpose, because basically she's one of these chicks of marginal, dare I use the word, talent, who basically doesn't really have anything to offer except shock value, because this is the age that we're in when you don't have talent. Well, just do anything and try to get as much attention as you can. She certainly doesn't have any attention based on her lyrical abilities. Now, as you just saw, the white media attempted to jump all over YK Osiris, and then a bunch of black bootlick wannabe feminists wanted to pile on after that. Suki Hana was pretty much quiet, or at least she didn't say very much to help him, and then she puts out this tweet here 16 hours ago. As you can see on your page, it says, "I am a pro-black woman, and I am not into tearing black men down." Well, I'm glad to hear that. Although you could have just stopped at pro-black, but I'm pro-black, and I'm a pro-black woman, and I'm not into tearing black men down. This is something I am choosing to forgive him for. Choosing. You see, young guy, Suki, you got a little Karen language here. You see, you trying to act like you hardcore hood and things, and this has been your claim to fame, and not just on television, because I'm coming back to that. This hasn't just been a TV persona. This has not just been a television persona. This has been something you've been acting on in the real world. All of a sudden here, she starts getting her Karen on, and take a look at what broke her. It wasn't anybody grabbing her. It wasn't anybody knocking her down. It wasn't anybody putting her in a compromising position. This right here broke the hood rat into a Karen. And I'm calling it what it is. Ridiculous. But she says, "This is something I'm choosing to forgive him for. I love him and accept his apology. I would like to move on from this. You know what? It would be great, although this wouldn't have happened in the first place, if you had said something from the beginning to let everybody else know, hey, it's no big deal. It's no issue." And there are other concerns that can be out there, but let's be very, very clear. There's been a double standard at work. There has been a double standard at work. And we're going to deal with that. We're going to deal with that here tonight. Now, she says in her little statement here, "I want to first say thank you to everyone who has reached out. Your thoughtfulness has not gone unnoticed. I would like to address the event that took place on Saturday, as well as the aftermath around such." Punctuation, people, punctuations. The as well as, all right. First, I want to acknowledge that YK Osiris has apologized to me both privately and publicly, and I have chosen to accept his apology. God always forgives me, and I can always forgive others. I'm accepting his apology. My accepting his apology is not my excusing or lessening the severity of his actions. Folks, these were, quote, his actions. Right there on the screen. That's the severity of his actions she's referring to. Talk about maximum Karen. You were raised with a made-up name from a made-up hood, and yet take a look overnight, she's flip-flopped, clutching my pearls, Because, this isn't severe. Here. No. Nothing severe going on here. Absolutely not. Perfectly fine here. No, of course not. A peck on the cheek. Why, that's outrageous. This right here, though, this is perfectly calm and perfectly reasonable. Yeah. He is young. Talk about talking down to someone. How the hell old is she talking about he's young? It is my prayer that this experience will cause him and others to be more mindful and respect the personal boundaries of others. Personal boundaries of others. We gonna come back to this here in a moment, Sukihana, because if you're gonna say something like this, we need to have some context. We're talking about personal boundaries. I am human, a woman, a mother, and daughter before I am an entertainer. No matter what my lyrics express, man, we ain't talking about your damn lyrics. Jason, stop. I still have boundaries and a right to have them. What do you... Oh boy, didn't make it that damn long. Didn't make it that damn long at all.
Auntie, chill!
Again, I have accepted his apology and am working towards getting back to my life. I am giving YK the grace and forgiveness that I wanted to be given to me as I was discovering and defining myself on this very public and sometimes unforgiving entertainment platform. Thank you again. I deeply appreciate your support. I still have boundaries and a right to have them. What? All right. First of all, I would like to discuss your public boundaries here, Miss Sukihana. And this is a teaching moment. We're having a teaching moment right now, Miss Sukihana. By the way, take a look at your screen name first of all. Take a look at her screen name first of all. You want to talk about boundaries. Talk about boundaries. I'm such a Karen. Can't believe it. Why? I'd like to discuss boundaries, though. I'd like to keep discussing boundaries. My cool fans, I'd like to keep discussing boundaries. Okay, those are the cool fans. I'd like to discuss boundaries. Me trying to sneak and smoke in my weed show. I'd like to discuss boundaries. Take a look at the folks behind her. You take a look at that thing on the right, on the left there. You take a look at folks behind her. Okay, it's nothing but males behind her. Yeah. Boundaries. Yeah. These are the boundaries. These are the boundaries she was just... I think these are those boundaries you were just referring to, Miss Sukihana. Those are the boundaries you were referring to, right? All right. After the show. More boundaries. Now, this is how she presents herself, even though now she's told the whole world is fake, is phony. Please understand, I'm a Karen. I'm waiting to bust out my Karen card. So, all right, I'm a Karen. And what I'm saying is keep the same energy. What I'm saying is keep the same energy. Don't sit up here and switch up. Keep the same energy. Keep the same energy. That's my point. All right, here she is again. Apparently, she loves talking about this subject on your screen. She loves talking about doing this. So there's a certain type of LGBT male. There's a certain type of LGBT male that she likes. So what she's letting you know is you gotta be an LGBT dude to get her attention. And as you saw in some of these other videos there and stuff, it's like, yeah, she there's a certain kind of energy she likes. It's okay. She just pretends. She pretends to be one way. But she's making it very clear. No, to you heterosexual guys, no, don't. This part right here is for show. This right here is the real. Oh, no, you all hadn't thought about it that way. All right, she's got this leg of hers sitting up on the bed at this hotel with the little kanji symbols and showing her little toes. That's cute and everything. All right. She likes The Office. She likes The Office. Do I sniff Bedwinch?
And deal with it, nigga.
Because, I mean, you know, all Karens have this in common. It doesn't matter what low-level gutter they come from. When a white male comes around, damn it, I'm getting in trouble. There goes the neighborhood. When the most squarest white dudes show up, all of a sudden she flip out and she starts becoming Sex in the City. Oh, you mean this right here is how you have to make money, but you really wish you could be over here. This is a teaching moment, Suki. We're having a teaching moment tonight. How many of y'all didn't even bother to take a look at these things? I can understand it probably wasn't your cup of tea because she's very, very abrasive, but yep. Here she is again because this is her claim to fame. These are her boundaries. These are her boundaries, by the way. Here she is again, shaking for some females and more females. All right, and more and more. Oh, y'all taking it too far with my song, although it's not quite the way you would have thought. So, needless to say, yeah. Glad to see she's established boundaries. Okay, this is all right. Inexplicable here, but keep this in mind. Keep this picture over here on the right. Keep that one in mind. That toe thing, keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. We'll review this. Of course, she's sitting up here putting out her best foot forward, even if it's somebody else's. Yeah. Got putting your best foot forward. My boundaries. Why would anyone think that you were overly sexualized? Why would anyone assume that? Why would anyone assume that there's no way you would be this damn square over a peck on the cheek? I bet you if it was, I don't know, I have a feeling if it was those white men, do you all think she would have had the same problem if it was these white men who did it? Just asking for a friend. Would she have had as much of a problem? Well, she's back to the LGBT. There's a certain type of LGBT male, because only an LGBT male, only a fellow with some sus tendencies here. Is there somebody in my chat room trying to argue with this? I need to have you call up when the phone line's open. I think there's somebody in my chat room trying to argue with this. Sir, I might have you call up when I get the phone lines open. Since apparently you like, what do you mean by that? Excuse me? That's not an LGBT move, sir? That's not an LGBT move. Okay, there's a fella in the chat room who I think in his mind, there's some debate. There's some dispute in his mind. I'm not asking you for details, but I'm just saying, not asking for details. All right. She's promoting Mood, DJ Khaled. All right. I don't even want to know what that was about. Did I say something wrong or right? Who knows? Who knows? Who asked? Oh, well, take a look. Oh, okay. Yeah, boundaries. Yeah, why would anyone think that a peck on the cheek would be well within your boundaries? Based on what you promote and post on social media, why would anyone think that? If the song is trashy, why they singing it? Because people eat junk food all the time. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, take a look at this one. Remember that little foot sucking thing earlier? Oh, that's her leg. That's her leg. You take a look at the dudes back there looking all giddy. By the way, I wonder why. Are these your boundaries, ma'am? Her literally, who baby daddy? Are these your boundaries? Because I wonder why YK Osiris and anybody else would think that your boundaries are pretty wide. I wonder why he would think that. If this video on your screen right now of her saying who baby daddy and just some rando sucking her toes, if this all makes a person think that her boundaries are pretty wide, I want you all to give me the thumbs up emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button. It's over 2,500 people in here live right now. It's over 2,500 people in here live. So give me a thumbs up in the chat room if you agree that it looks like those boundaries are pretty wide, and hit the likes button. Otherwise, I'm going to figure it's a bunch of Suki fans and we'll just wrap this up early like we did last week. Because I don't want to sit here and offend your little sensibilities. I don't want to offend your little sensibilities. But by the way, yeah, so you're offended that YK Osiris kissed your cheek, but you consider it to be something to post to the world that somebody is sucking your feet. We're having a teaching moment. We're having a teaching moment here. We're having a teaching moment because Sukihana waited almost a week before she said something. She left the young man out there twisting the wind for almost a week before she said something, and that was deliberate because that's how wannabe Karens, black Karens, think they can channel white woman energy on command. What I'm saying is, we need to have a review before we allow her to channel her inner Karen. There's a reason. And for some of you who might try the deflection tactic about boundaries, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Jamaican, A-Key, and CMOS. Whatever. All right, you take a look on the stage here. By the way, boundaries, right? Let me hurry up, move up before I get a strike on YouTube. Boundaries. Remember, she's all about boundaries. I'm showing you stuff in the real world. She's all about boundaries. Remember? Boundaries. So just so you know, hey, understand my boundaries. Boundaries are good. All right, that's boundaries. Boundaries, hey, my boundaries. Take a look on my social media, my boundaries. Boundaries on parade. Boy, she's got a real thing for toes, don't she? Okay, fetish, anyone? Boundaries. Right, take a look at this ultra-talented person. All right. Yeah, those are boundaries. Yeah, those were boundaries right there. Do y'all get the idea that she likes emasculating men? No. Don't give me no stuff about, well, these are folk up there with her or whatnot. What I'm saying is this is emasculation. This is butt breaking. I'm not joking. This is butt breaking. How the hell did anybody not notice this before now? You got some situation like this. This is butt breaking, man. This is butt breaking. Do you see the hostility here specifically towards black males? This is butt breaking. While you're sitting up here talking about YK Osiris, by the way, hello, the only interaction she wants to have with men is basically a butt-breaking relationship. So when I see you sitting up here holding out for a whole week like this, I'm starting to look at the way how you roll and how you get down, and I'm like, Yeah, it looks like she thinks she can channel her inner Karen here. She's into butt-breaking. She's into taking men and trying to butt break on them. What about his boundaries? Oh, all the Sukihana butt suckers. Okay. I don't know who's the problem, me or her, but either way, I'm out of here. Okay. The problem might be you. Who knows? Who knows? Boundaries, by the way, boundaries. This one right here strikes me as curious for some of the reasons I mentioned before. Vicarious. Yeah, we'll just leave that one there for a moment, but it strikes me as being a little interesting there. All right, America's Ghetto Princess. That's an oxymoron, but then again, I wouldn't want to stress her brain with an oxymoron. Let's get off of that one. Let's just bypass that one altogether. Didn't see that coming. Oh, look. More boundaries. Oh, look, more boundaries. So glad we got this. Oh, look, more boundaries. Now, by the way, this ain't a music video shoot. This is her live and in concert. More boundaries. More boundaries. So apparently her boundaries are women and LGBT men. I'm sorry, apparently her boundaries are heterosexual men, women, LGBT scenarios, she's all for it. Somebody got their hand on her. Okay, do y'all see that? Do y'all see that? These women are filling her up. Folks, I thought you had boundaries, Suki. This is not a music video. This is a live, what passes for a concert, and I just couldn't help but notice. I don't want to call too much attention to it, but by the way, yeah, see, this was out of line right here. A peck on the cheek was out of line. This right here was legit. This right here is okay. This right here was within her boundaries. Other women and LGBT men, that is within her boundaries. See, she don't want to say this because Lil Nas X can't sell no albums. And Lil Nas X can't go on tour and sell any albums. So you got to understand, these folks who get promoted by YouTube, promoted by Twitter, promoted by the algorithms, some of them don't want to say exactly what side they come down on.
Auntie, chill.
Folks, this is from her Twitter page, not somewhere else. If I could find this with ease, why the hell couldn't they? And by the way, my likes are low tonight, which means that I'm offending some people, so I'm going to wrap things up here probably in the next 15, 20 minutes, since I'm offending a lot of Suki suckers. Okay, they're upset, they're angry. Jason, how dare you? Almost 3,000 people in here, but I don't have any likes on this, so they're like, we hear what you're saying, Jason, but we don't like it. Okay. By the way, she has no problem with females. You take a look here. Other females can put their hands and their mouths wherever. But if she suspects you're a heterosexual male, she's offended. Yeah. Boundaries in the real world. Boundaries. Just thought I'd point it out. These are her boundaries in the real world. Oh, look, more boundaries. More boundaries. Yeah, more boundaries. Just thought I'd point that out for a few moments there, that she's accumulating, more boundaries. Just thought I'd take a moment to point that out. So just in case you missed it or whatever, she's accumulating more boundaries for it. I don't know why that keeps freezing up there, but in any case, yeah. Boundaries. So, hey, respect her boundaries, y'all. Respect. I don't know why you would think. Why on earth would you think that would be okay to do? Why would you think it would be okay to give her a peck on the cheek? That certainly she way past. Why would you think that? Why would you think that? There are more lessons to be learned here because Suki, and this is a teaching moment tonight, Suki. If you're so concerned about boundaries, why is it that you don't respect the boundaries of men and boys? And by boys, I mean little kids, little male children. So this is something else we need to talk about here tonight, because in the feral, vicious mind of the Black Karen, she has been told that any behavior she wants to engage in, including overtly, hideously hypocritical behavior. YK Osiris gave her a peck on the cheek. She's given this little boy a lot more than a peck on the cheek. Do you all realize we are drifting off into child pornography territory right here? Do you all realize that we are drifting off now into child pornography territory? But I'm going to do you a solid here, Suki. I'm not going to accuse you of that. Unlike some of your supporters out there who have been trying to say that this is sexual assault. No, this right here. This right here. And take a look at the other bastard baby-making hood rat behind them, sitting there smiling. Do you understand that black male children are targets today? In this lesbianized culture, black male children, a black male who doesn't have full control, doesn't have full autonomy, doesn't have full authority over himself. They're targeting males that don't have full autonomy of themselves and attacking the ones who do. They are targeting the ones who don't have full autonomy and attacking the ones who do. You remember what you're hearing here tonight. Suki, I'm having a teaching moment. I'm having a teaching moment. I want all of you to recognize I'm trying to teach you something. Let's go ahead and deal with that, just in case we haven't slam dunked you enough. Let's go ahead and deal with another issue there. Because there will be some dead-end black wannabe feminists, white supremacist adjacent individuals who will sit up here and tell you, well, regardless of how she presents herself in public, and regardless of how many people she allows to do her good and plenties, she should have the final say over who gets to do what to her. Interesting because just last year, a lot of these people who would be saying that now, they didn't have this same energy last year. Last year, they were holding a different type of energy. See, last year, when it came to a person exhibiting an entertainer expressing themselves in the boundaries of entertaining and doing their job as an entertainer, you see, they didn't respect those boundaries last year. These same folk last year did not respect your boundaries, that other people could not just come up to you and put their hands on you or put other body parts on you as they will. Last year, you didn't have this energy, did you? I hope Representative Q-Ball don't have anything to say. Because if you'll all remember, I was Johnny on the spot last year. Let me go ahead and zoom that in. She said, thank you to Will Smith for assaulting Chris Rock. Over a joke, whether you thought it was funny or not, over a joke. Shout out to all the husbands who defend their wives, living with alopecia in the face of daily ignorance and insults. Women with baldies are for real men only. Boys need not apply. Keep that same energy today. Keep the same energy today. Don't run from it now. Because you see, if you present yourself over and over in interviews, when you present yourself on the street over and over again, when you do that, you see, as men, we are told that if we do that, why, we're eligible for somebody to put their hands on us. I'm having a teaching moment. As men, we are taught that if we behave a certain way, why, that makes us eligible for other people to walk up to us and lay their hands on us as they wish to. And what I'm saying is, okay, now that you've set that precedent, you are now required to maintain that same energy. You're required to maintain the same energy. You can't sit here and say, well, I mean, it depends on who it is. Now, you means if you do that right there, it's like, okay, we're not playing that mess anymore. Chivalry is dead. You're not going to sit up here and promote a double standard. When men behave a certain way, let me go ahead and break this all down to you all a different way here. When you got some dude walking the streets, when you have somebody walking the streets and they talking a certain way and they're behaving a certain way and they sit up here and they go from one place to another. They sit up here and go from one place to another. And they tell everybody that this is the way they live in. They tell everybody that this is the way they're living. You see, as men, nobody sits up here and tells us, oh no, that shouldn't apply to you. Nobody sits up here and says that. Nobody says that that shouldn't apply to us as men. Nobody says that you should be able to display yourself however you want to as an entertainer. You should be able to do that as an entertainer, and that you should be allowed to just walk. See, if you're a man and you go into the wrong neighborhood, false flagging. If you're a man and you show up and that stage persona, if you take your stage persona to the street, ain't no mercy for you. Ain't no Twitter folk up here standing up for you. There's no white websites and white media outlets coming to your rescue and saying, well, you should respect his entertaining. See, nobody said that for Tupac when he got gunned down. Nobody said that for Biggie when he got gunned down. Nobody said that for them when they got shot and killed. They were saying, well, you live by the gun, you die by the gun, and can't show you one damn thing gun related that they did. Not something criminal. So you see, as men, they tell us that however you conduct yourself on a stage, however you conduct yourself at your job as an entertainer, then that there is no boundary between what you are, your entertainer persona, and the real world. That's what they tell you. As men, we don't have a boundary between us as entertainers and the real world. You are whatever you do all the time. And there are no boundaries that protect you. None. Well, all I'm saying is what's good for the goose is good for the gander. In the 21st century, keep that energy. Hold that energy. Because us men been living with this now for decades. Baby, all it took was one peck on the cheek. Now let me go ahead and explain something about the entertainment industry. Baby, it's time for you to hang up your hoe boots. Suki, your career is over. It's time for you to hang up your hoe boots. See, you see that over-sexualized persona that you've been presenting before. Now, just understand, you killed your kayfabe. For those of you who understand wrestling terminology, she killed her kayfabe. Kayfabe is when you take your wrestling in-ring persona into the real world. Kayfabe doesn't exist anymore. It used to until 25 years ago. Now it doesn't anymore, but kayfabe, baby, she's been playing kayfabe the whole damn time, taking her onstage persona into the real world. Now she can't do it anymore. That's it. Your brand is dead, baby. Because you have to be over the top. You're too hood ratted up. You're too tatted up. You had to go extreme because you're not. I will say this as diplomatically as I can, Suki. As an alleged pro-black woman, this is a teaching moment to a young woman. Baby, the whole reason you had to go over the top is because you ain't as clean as the others. You ain't as clean as your predecessors. You're not as clean as these other folk. Baby, you coming to us with every type of raggedy there is. Technicolored hair, drinking alcohol, tattoos from head to toe, no muscle tone anywhere. You paid all you ladies paying all this damn money for BBLs. You're paying thousands for a BBL and won't pay $50 for a personal trainer. I'll be damned. You'll pay thousands for a personal BBL and won't spend $100 for a personal trainer. So, baby, you had to go over the top to drown out all of this mess. And I ain't hating on that. Do what you do. But what I am saying is that now that you got to hold that, that's the brand. That's the brand. And when you sit down for a face-to-face interview and you're still presenting yourself as Suki with the good Suki and you kayfabing, just understand, it's just like if Mike Tyson sits down for an interview. Y'all understand, as men, see, the rules are different. Men understand not to play no damn kayfabe. As men, we understand, don't play kayfabe. When Mike Tyson sits down for an interview, if he start barking on cats and acting like he's Mike Tyson in the ring, you better be ready. Conor McGregor, Tank Davis, if you sit down at a sit-down interview and you start talking noise, you better be ready to live that life all the way. You don't get to sit there and say, oh, that's just me on stage, or you sit down for an interview and you barking on some people, and then you come sit in front of somebody else and they're like, okay, he come barking over here. Me, it's on. Oh, no, I just meant that on stage. No, because you like to bark on folk face to face. So you don't just reserve that for music videos and on stage. You like to bark at people in studios. You like to sit up here and talk noise to people face to face. I'm sitting right here now. What you got to say? As a man, we understand you don't play that. You don't kayfabe. If that's your stage persona, you leave it on stage. You get off that stage, you make it very clear, hey, that ain't me. That's entertainment. For men, we understand, don't kayfabe because folks gonna take you up on it. Folks are gonna take you up on it if you're presenting yourself a certain way. People are gonna test you and say, oh, let me find out if that's really who you are. Let me find out if that's really who you are. Let me give y'all another example. When it comes to doing interviews, see, there's certain folks you can't talk noise to. If you got certain folk who done did time, certain folks, they legit Bloods, certain other people, they're legit Crips. You can't sit up here and play no damn games. You got a real Crip in your studio and y'all sitting up here playing games about tossing red bandanas on his side of the table. Y'all sitting up here talking slob talk to a real Crip. See, he doesn't have the ability to put kayfabe on that. As men, we understand the folks in the studio doing the interview. Oh, we just playing. Oh, we just kidding. We just playing. You talking to a real Crip, And you sitting there talking about we just playing. Suki, baby, word of advice. Your days of doing all that triple X-rated flirting in your interviews, baby, you're done. That's it. If you're not about this life, don't get out here false flagging like you're about this life. Men understand this. We don't false flag because we know somebody gonna catch up with us and be like, okay, keep that energy. Baby, you ain't about this life. You are just a little square chick who got tatted up and everything. You've been through a lot of things, and all you really are is some little square ball A&E Networks, AMC channel watching chick pretending to be this. Baby, you ain't about this life, and that's cool. You got to get off the block, though. Hey, Suki, you got to get off the block. You got to get off the block. You know why? Because it's real chicks out here who are really about that life, and all you're doing is causing confusion. All you're doing is confusing everybody. You are not about that life. Get off the block, and the people who are about that life, they're going to stick with the business. But the little square ball pretending chicks, y'all got to go. We need to put you where you belong, over there with Nicki Minaj, because that's what you really want to be. You want to be Nicki Minaj, but you're not clean enough. You already got too much graffiti on you and too many road miles and too many dents and dings. You're not clean enough to be a Nicki Minaj. Hell, you're not clean enough to be a Cardi B. So you're just this raggedy, broke down impression. No insult. None whatsoever, no shade. But I'm just saying, let's just keep it real. You're not as clean. Okay, fine, but you want to be where they are. Okay, I understand that, but you need to stay where they are. Don't come over here trying to turn the volume up, and then when somebody sits up here and says, hey, check out the volume, then all of a sudden, oh, Karen. So just from here on in, baby, we know what you really don't like is you realize too damn late it broke your brand. You broke the brand. Hey, baby, get off the stage. You're done. You're done. And just let a real, true to the game, stomp down, 10 toes down, stiletto Saturdays chick come step up to the plate and get the job done. But as for you, you've already shown you're fake, you're fraudulent. Hey, it's okay, but now you got to get off the stage because you're done. You're done. The next time you sit at an interview acting like that, the dudes aren't going to respond to you. That's the problem that you have is the next time you sit at the interview and you start trying to do that triple X-rated talk, except with your LGBT friends, the interviewer is going to shut that down. The interviewer is going to be like, yeah, that's not really who you are. So you can't do that anymore. See, that was your brand. And you let the fact that you dealing with, I guess, childhood traumas or something, when a man actually walked up to you and just gave you a peck on the cheek, which is the most affectionate thing you could do. There's nothing sexual in what YK Osiris did. That's not sexual. You can do that with your daughter or your grandmother. That's not sexual. And the fact that you froze up like that, that tells us you dealing with some issues. I understand. What I'm saying is, hey, baby, stop the false flag and stop the front and you're done. Go deal with your issues. But this old fraudulent stuff you're doing, let it go. Let it go. In the chat room to the slow bus people who said he kissed her on the mouth. Apparently, you're late. So, in the chat room there, Miss Kicks Limitless, or Mr. Kicks Limitless, let me go ahead and show you a woman who, by the way, kissing her on the mouth, that violates her boundaries, right? For the slow bus children, that violates her boundaries. For you slow bus kids talking about he kissed her on the mouth, you got to understand, you got to go take your soy. Yeah, kissing her on the mouth is a violation of boundaries, right? Now, this right here, well, this is perfectly within boundaries. Yeah, this is within boundaries. Yeah, to the slow bus Pee Wee Herman kids. Yeah. Oh, he kissed her on the mouth though, Jason. He kissed her on the mouth. Yeah, just totally out of bounds. Yeah. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I don't blame you for being upset. He kissed her on the mouth. Oh, well, certainly. Absolutely. Certainly. Kissing her on the mouth would be a big problem. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's a good thing that she's not kissing her on the mouth. It's good thing these lovely ladies in the audience aren't kissing her on the mouth. It's a good thing they're not doing that. Why, that would be really out of line. Oh, that'd be real out of line. Okay, Kicks Limitless, you are really showing your LGBT colors. Let me go ahead and open the phone lines for you. I can't wait to go ahead and get to this one. I was going to talk about some other folk here tonight, but you know what, Kicks? Let me just go ahead and get this crunked up for you, since you obviously would like to educate all of us, and I'm damn sure trying to get educated now. So let's go ahead and kick this damn thing off. The phone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. And as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and turn on the Zoom. Since we got some folks here in the chat room tonight, they are big Sookie lovers. They are big Sookie lovers, so we're going to go ahead and let them have their day at this. We're going to let them have their day at this, so you got to understand, some of these folks here, I'm not being mean when I say this, but for some of these folks here, y'all got to understand, there were a bunch of people, and they may be grown today, but there's a bunch of folks out there, and, you know, their mamas were doing all kinds of things in the street. And they saw their mamas doing all kinds of inappropriate things in the street. And you all have grown up where the lines between being your mother's child and being your mother's man have been blurred. So you think that anything a woman does is okay because you watch your mama sit up here and behave any old kind of way. And I'm just giving you a moment here to say, you might want to think this over. I mean, I'm just saying it might be time to go ahead and reconsider some of the things that you saw your mom doing, because you're standing among other adults today whose mamas didn't get rubbed on and yanked on and everything else like that. And now you're acting like, it's like, ooh, that's strange. Don't everybody's mama get taught? No, everybody's mom doesn't. No, that really doesn't happen. No, that really isn't everybody's mom. That really isn't. So some of y'all see this, and that's why I want y'all to hear them, because when you hear them talk, you all speak about these people's comments in your voice, in your head. But when you hear them and you hear that they talk just like Sookie Hana, it's like, oh, hell. This person, that's the only thing in the third grade. Okay, well, yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. We're having a teaching moment tonight. I'm having a teaching moment. No. I'm having a teaching moment tonight because understand something. Old Kiss in the chat room there. The telephone lines are open for you so you can explain to everybody. By the way, to my moderators, make sure that they are required to call in. The phone lines are now open. By the way, let me go ahead and throw up the Zoom in the chat room while we're at it, so we can go ahead and deal with that. Some folks are upset, but I'm doing this for a reason. No, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm going back to what I was mentioning here before. This is why we got the phone lines open for this and whatnot. So the folks who want to ask questions about that, you all can hear them actually ask the questions themselves. Kicks Limitless. That wasn't a request, baby. You got to be on the phone. That was not a request. You've had a lot to say in the chat room. Time to get on the phone lines now. Let's not go ahead and be scared now. You've had a lot to say. Time to have a lot more to say. See, understand something. When we have teaching moments like this, there are a lot of folks out there that come from, can y'all just say it? You come out from the set out generation. Your mama was set out. I ain't dissing you for that. What I am here to say is that you need to have enough sense to sit up and say, well, you know what? The phone lines work just fine. Kicks, you have 60 seconds to be on the phone lines. If you are not, you'll be given a permanent vacation. Simple as I got folks on the phone lines right now. The phone lines work fine. You can even hear me. Kicks is on the phone lines at 404 area code. That means you can hear me the whole time. Kicks, that's pretty pathetic, isn't it? If you're going to start off lying, can't just
No, I
bad
did.
foot.
I was trying to get on the line, brother.
Man, you've been hearing me the whole time since you've been on this phone, dude.
Auntie, chill.
If you don't stop,
You just opened the line up.
dude, you've been sitting here the whole time hearing me. If you don't stop lying.
Yeah.
In any case, now you're on the line.
I just got on the line, Jason. Come on, dude. Yeah.
It's your time to talk, sir.
Yeah, I didn't mean no disrespect by what I was saying. I just tuned in, and I just thought, what's his name? YK Osiris? I thought he was in the wrong 100%.
Okay, and why did you think he was in the wrong, quote unquote, 100%?
Because, I mean, no matter what she put online, that don't mean you just go up and just grab the girl and it's about the setting. You see what I'm saying? It's the context behind it. She's a performer.
But she wasn't performing at that time, sir.
No, I'm talking about when she was when she was on stage.
Yes, sir. And I
When
will
the
say,
girls was
sir, I'll
grabbing
say
her?
this again. When YK Osiris kissed her, she was not performing, sir.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why it wasn't okay.
Okay, sir, let me say it the third time. You just said, well, you tried to make a distinction between her performing and being herself. She was not performing at that time, sir. So when he did that, she was not the performer. She was just sitting on the panel.
Yeah, that's why it was wrong. I'm saying the difference is between when the girls grabbed her on her show and versus
How is that
grabbing her while she
different?
doing this broadcast.
How is that different, sir?
Because she's in a professional setting. She's not performing in that type of way.
Sir, I thought the point was that she has boundaries.
I didn't say she had boundaries. I just say it's a time and a place for
Okay, sir.
different things.
So what you're saying is that the time and the place is falling off stage with a bunch of rando females, but the time LGBT females is not with another person in the music industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So
kinda
you're
like a
sir. So
stage,
you're
right?
saying.
You see
saying
it-
that it was okay
Yeah.
for those rando females out here in bulk, and a couple of dudes that look like to grab her all over her good and plenties. You're saying that was permissible.
I'll say that it sure for her it was permissible for her.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That
So
was-
the point that she was establishing
Yeah.
is that when you see Suki Hana in person, she is okay with random people inviting themselves to ingratiate themselves on her. And we have precedent that shows that what he did was outrageously tame in comparison. She's gone way further. What he did was way further back. And you're saying, well, I mean, what they did right there, I mean, that's all right there. That's permissible for her. Okay, and but the point is that a reasonable person to be like, I'm not going to do anything even remotely close to grab her by her Mike and Ike's. All he did was kiss the woman.
Well, Jason, it's about you got to catch at the right time, Jason. You know that.
Catch what at the right time?
You got to catch Suki at the right time when she in freak mode.
Okay, does she have a light on her forehead that lights up when she's, quote, in freak mode?
You just got to read. You got to read. Okay, come on. We got to put accountability now.
Yes,
Why
sir,
can't
and
y'all read
that's
the
exactly what I'm
situation?
doing. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. You see, the reason why Tekashi 6ix9ine got green lighted was because Tekashi 6ix9ine on stage, on Instagram, on Twitter, was presenting himself a certain way till it ends up in the until it ends up in the RICO charge. And then when it ends up in the RICO charge, he's saying, well, sometimes that's who I am and sometimes that's who I ain't. But everybody telling him you got to hold that persona now. So why is it that Suki shouldn't have to hold that persona now? Because the men do.
Because I mean, because being a thought and being a gangster, two different things. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not, sir.
Thought, you don't
Actually, no, it's not.
Everybody.
Actually, no, it's not, sir. It isn't, and I can
it's
prove it,
things,
sir. It isn't, and I can prove it. Bobby Shmurda, Young Thug, YMK, whoever the dude is now, all these dudes are being brought up on RICO charges, and guess what? The evidence is being used against them. What they said on stage and what they said in their music.
But see, they throw that. See, Jason, they throwing that away. They throwing that out. They can't use the. Think about the YNW.
That didn't stop them. That didn't. The damage has already been done. First of all, they've already convicted people on these grounds, sir. So what you're going to try to do is cherry pick on cases. They already convicted them on the grounds, but the worst part is they've already indicted them because of it. Those were the grounds of indicting them.
No, it's not because of it. They have real,
no, sir. I didn't say
evidence.
Because of it. I said that's part of it.
Yeah. But they throw that
their
out.
Stage. No, there's okay, sir. You're talking about after the fact. You're talking about after the fact, sir. That didn't prevent them from being indicted. Stop and listen for a moment. That didn't prevent them from being indicted. Sir, it didn't prevent them from being indicted. That's the problem. You talking about, well, after you get indicted, and after you in court on the stand, see if your attorneys can get you out of it. And I'm trying to say the slow bus children. Making those songs was what prosecutors used to get through a grand jury and all the other hoops to get you in court facing life sentences.
No, but they have other evidence. You got that you can't just go off a song. I can say anything in a song.
Sir.
Did
the prosecutors or did the prosecutors not at the grand jury stage point out, by the way, listen to these people's lyrics. They're admitting to the crimes. Did they or did they not do that?
What rapper?
Sir, that's a yes or no question, sir. Y'all, I think what it is, he doesn't understand what the grand jury is, or he's just silly. Sir, I didn't say convicted. The grounds for putting them into court. What part of the evidence against them was listen to their songs and listen to them on stage.
But they have to get.
Sir, it's not a but. No, sir, it's not a but. No, sir, it's not a but.
Yeah.
Was that used to help? Was that part of the case that was used to indict them?
It's a part of it.
Okay, thank you. Enough. The answer is yes. Their stage personas and their entertainment personas have consequences beyond their music. And we can show you in the court system that that's true. Now you're saying, I want to have an arbitrary limit. It doesn't work that way. It didn't work that way for Tekashi 6ix9ine on the street. It doesn't work for rappers in court. You're saying that Suki Hana, and all you're really trying to say this because she's got ovaries, you're saying she should be given a special dispensation. That's what you're trying to say.
I'm not. I'm just saying that context matters. And you got to separate the entertainment between the entertainment and the real life.
And sir, the point that we're trying to make is that, you, the entertainer, must make a clear, concrete line between your entertainment and real life. Yeah, Suki, you need to, because she has made a short-lived 15 minutes of fame career out of not blurring the line, but obliterating it. That there is no line. That what you see on stage, I can't even play the interviews she's done. I can't even play those. I shortened the clip that I played of YK Osiris. I didn't shorten it. The real thing I got to is because you were saying stupid things in the chat room also. But for anybody else out there, I was playing this from
I would say
Sir, be
Jason,
quiet.
Jason,
Sir, be quiet. I'll get back to you in a moment. In the chat room, for those of you who might be wondering, the real thing was I wanted to show this from Hot 97. It's gotten 42,000 views, plus it's from Hot 97. And I want you all to take a look on the screen here. You can see where they're talking in the studio and they're talking about YK Osiris and they're talking about what happened and things like that. But this is the point I wanted to make to you all. Just keep watching. Now you see right here, he comes up behind her, peck on the cheek. All right. Now after he does that, take a look at what happens on Hot 97 here. Back to the studio with more commentary. Let me go ahead and play this with the audio on so you all can hear it.
Against her will.
Yeah.
So in this moment, he to me, he successfully kissed her twice against her will.
Yeah.
So, and both times grabbing her face. The second time grabbing her face even harder. And you know, you just, especially in these times, this is not something that you could do out here.
Oh, it was,
you know, and get away with
It's very awkward and inappropriate.
it seems very,
Okay, so for all of you slow bus Pee Wee Herman Sesame Street flunkies who flunked Sesame Street, that was what Hot 97 said. To, hey, Mr. G-Mac, and play the whole video. Look here, dude, learn a whole alphabet. You work on that. Hot 97 said this because I wanted to make sure the slow bus little kids got caught in their own little traps. That's what Hot 97 said about the pecking on the cheek. Not about what you jackasses were trying to add later. Well, he grabbed her by the face and by the jaw. He lifted her face backwards and kissed her. They said this about kissing her on the cheek, and I just played the whole damn clip for you of him saying that. Far as I'm concerned, he forcibly forced her to kiss him twice. Far as I'm concerned. So they're telling you that what you see on your screen, that was the, quote, forcible kissing.
In these times, this is not something that you could do out here.
To anybody else out there who wanted to sit up here and play around and act like, oh, Jason, you clipping something. I don't have to clip a damn thing. I'm just waiting for you all to say something stupid just so you can show what you're really about. Because let's be very, very clear. The same guys who were defending that, talking about, well, you know, he did kiss her on the mouth. They're not going to back down from it. What they're trying to say is that, well, she should have the right to be able to express herself as X-rated as she wants to be. And there should be no real world ramifications. None. And that's wrong. Because as a man, if I walk into a studio and I start talking crazy at the host, Kanye West, with Sway. Kanye West was in the studio. Y'all remember that? Screaming at Sway and barking on Sway. And Sway was like, hey, man, we could turn the microphones off. All of a sudden, Kanye got some act right. Now, nobody said, you Sway, you wrong for that there. See, Kanye is just behaving himself. He said, that's just his stage persona, Sway. You shouldn't be taking that all serious. Folks was like, oh, he about to get at him. Yeah, Kanye, there's consequences of that. This young woman did not get sexually assaulted. She didn't get turned out. She got pecked on the cheek, once on the lips, and that was it. I can show you where she is used to a lot more than that happening. A whole lot more. It is unreasonable for somebody to say that kissing someone on the lips is more severe than what you about to see here. That's legit, but kissing her on the, oh, that's too damn much right there. And why is it that all of these people are doing this? You can't do this at the damn Janet Jackson concert. Why is it that all of these people are doing this? Because this is the brand that she put out. Then she wants to slam on the brakes and tell everybody, well, I want to control when and where the brand takes over. And what I'm saying is she can do that, but now she just destroyed the brand. When you tell people that you have a schizophrenic brand, that sometimes I'm the world's biggest super slut and other times, ooh, a kiss on the cheek scare me. What I'm saying is that you need to take responsibility for that as a woman, that you make it where it's like, why in the world would you think that kissing me on the cheek was acceptable? I don't know you like that. Well, ma'am, I've seen a bunch of other folks doing a whole lot more on more than one occasion. So, and you all, when you do your interviews, you wide open. Well, why would you think kissing me on the face and on the cheek was permissible if I don't know you? Because all these other folks are grabbing a whole lot more than your face. So I took it from that. That's where I got that impression. I got it from here. Now you're saying, oh, pay no attention to what I do on stage. Don't pay any attention to that. I have boundaries. Well, you didn't in Chicago. You didn't have any boundaries in Chicago. What boundaries? And that's just as illegitimate as Tekashi 6ix9ine saying, why'd y'all beat me up in the bathroom in Los Angeles? Well, because you out here on the streets talking about snitches don't get no repercussions. Oh, that's a persona and that's just for stage and we just playing. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No. No, you don't get to do that. Chris Rock, I already showed that to y'all before. Chris Rock, nobody was saying that there should be boundaries for him. But when it comes to the females, dudes start simping out. And just understand something, Kiss. You're setting yourself up right now. You're setting yourself up. His phone call dropped, but you're setting yourself up. I want to say to the fellas right here tonight. Fellas, y'all got to be careful when you start adopting Me Too language and Me Too vernacular and Me Too philosophies. Y'all have to be careful when y'all do that. Some of you fellas out here, you are pathetic strategic thinkers. Y'all need to back off trying to promote Me Too language and Me Too philosophy. Meanwhile, the females are out here saying that it's okay to kill you. To the dumb mama's boys generation who's sitting up here with fond memories of being hugged up under their mamas. In any case, yeah, because y'all little fellas done grown up now, and now you're out here talking about, well, Jason, we got to protect the women. The women are out here saying it's okay to kill you if you say something that they don't like. And see, they won't do it themselves. They'll go egg on some other guy, some other mama's boy to go do that. But take a look at the philosophy that they're promoting, that if they don't like something you said, you don't get a on-stage persona, off-stage real-life dispensation. Oh, it's like, oh, no. Ain't no difference between them two. Chris Rock said that on stage, and nobody protected his ability to be an entertainer. They said, oh, no, what you say on the stage, that is the real world. Now, all of a sudden, it's come back to bite them. And they don't want us talking about it anymore. Now that it's come back to bite them. What I'm saying, folks, is that we cannot have a schizophrenic group of rules. There needs to be one set of rules for everyone. There cannot and will not be preferential treatment. Ladies, if the line is no kissy, then the line needs to be no kissy, no touchy, no sucky, no anything. And it needs to be clear and distinct. And you don't get to come back later and say, well, I get to be a stage persona, then the men get to be their stage persona too. And you gonna have to hold that. The mama's boys out here standing up for Suki right now. Dude, y'all gonna catch yourselves in a bind one day, and there won't be anything to help you because, folks, you're contributing to an atmosphere where you're saying, hey, it doesn't matter. If the females say it's wrong, and if the females say it's right, it's right. You clowns are talking about happy wife, happy life, and they ain't got a wife. By the way, I suckered them in real good about the video, did I not? I just wanted to make a point. I was just making a point. The mama's boys generation, play the whole video, dude. Play the whole video. Okay. By the way, that wasn't what Hot 97 was commenting on. Yeah, and you know I had it locked and loaded because I did not play the whole clip from the very beginning. So Jason, you just sat on that. I told you this was going to be a teaching moment tonight. I told you. You got a lot to learn. Caller from area code 313, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, how you doing? This is Nay. I'm calling from Detroit, Michigan.
All right, Nay from Detroit, and what is on your mind?
Okay, so now correct me if I'm wrong here, but if I'm not mistaken, I saw several clips of that video, and one in particular that I saw, she said that she would tear that you-know-what up prior to him going in for the kiss. Now, me being a woman, of course, I feel like you have to reserved. You have to get that moment saying, okay, yep, she's definitely into it. You have to get that from her to know. If I was a man and a woman sitting here telling me I'm gonna tear that up, that's kind of like my go-to, at least where I'm from. That's like a green light. So I don't know if I'm in the wrong here. I want your opinion because that's like a pass.
You're certainly in the wrong.
Do you think that,
you're certainly in the wrong if you want to trap men. That's the difference. If you want to trap somebody, you're certainly in the wrong. If you want to be rational and logical, you're absolutely in the right.
Yeah.
Which is the whole point that I was making, is that the only way you can defend her is if you literally ignore literally everything she has done before that moment. Mm-hmm. That's the only way you can defend her. Now, Jason, why didn't you bring this up before? Because you think guys like Kiss care about that? Well, it don't matter what she say now. She can say what she won't say. You supposed to have the boundaries. Meanwhile, she's approaching you with none. That's the whole point. See,
right,
and I'm glad you made that point, is because that's important. As men, we are taught to watch what we do verbally. See, this is something that females don't have to live with, and y'all should. As men, we're taught, watch what you say. Watch how you present yourself, because when you say something, that's taken as a threat. When you say something that's taken as a threat, you can't just talk any old kind of reckless way. Okay, but what about when a female starts talking reckless?
Right. And I know you know a lot about Detroit. You know, like, if a woman show you certain things and they say certain things, that's kind of like, you know, you giving in. So I'm like I said, I ain't trying to down her how she feel, but at the same time, like, that just kind of made me as a woman feel some type of way. Like, how are you kind of led him on in a way? You basically sitting here telling this man, like, yup, I take you and I'm gonna do this to you and I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. And then he like, well, shoot, I'm going for the kill, and I'm gonna,
let me put this in a different context.
My luck.
Let me put this in a different context. For all of the ladies out there, for some of you hard-head, brick stone-head females out there who might still be trying to defend Suki, let's put this in a different context. Let's just say that there's a black man. We'll call him, I don't know, Lamont Hill. And let's just say that all you females, every time Lamont shows up, he's talking about, if any of these men out here ever disrespect you, if any of these men out here ever try to run up on you and assault you, baby, if I was there, I'm laying them out, baby. That's the way it is. If a woman is in my presence, she is protected. And you sitting there like, oh, okay. And then next thing you know, you're at some public forum and some dude is sitting up here groping you or beating the brakes off of you, and Mark Lamont Hill is, somebody do something. Now, would you be saying, if y'all come to him later with your black eyes and, Mark, you let that man stomp the damn Millie Rock all over me. I thought you said you protect women. And Mark says, oh, that's just my own stage persona. See, I mean, you can't hold me to that. I mean, don't do that. No, that's just how I am on stage now. I mean, there's a difference between on stage and the real world. See, there's a difference between Twitter and the real world. See? No females would be saying, well, you know what? He's right. And you shouldn't insist that the way he presents himself on stage or on Twitter, that he should have to live by that. No one would be saying that. All of them would be saying, if you had that kind of smoke on Twitter and you had that kind of smoke on BET, then damn it, you should have had that kind of smoke on the bricks. No one would be saying that he has a right to not follow through. They'd be like, if you said it, you should have followed through. Now, see, that's what it means for men. Well, guess what? Ladies, it's the same damn thing. Don't sit up here and verbally make it clear. It's like, there ain't no boundaries. Well, they won't believe me. Why? Because you're entertaining. No, you're a person. And it's not like you worldwide known. You're a person. The whole point right here is don't false flag. Don't. Because we've entered an era. You couldn't do that 30 years ago. Hell, you couldn't do it 20 years ago. Now you got spoiled brattism where everything's about trolling. And what Suki Hana
Right.
showed is that she's a sexual troll. Well, what happens
that's the
when you go
problem
out
that I
there
have
trolling
with it, too.
and then you go meet somebody who ain't playing with you? Tekashi 6ix9ine was trolling till he got caught in that
Right.
bathroom. Then he was like, oh, this is my persona.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, knock off the damn sexual trolling, knock off the hood trolling, knock it off. If this ain't what you about, fall back.
Right. Period. And that's the problem. It's like you put out this image, and now, ladies, please do not take this the wrong way, because I do feel that you have to have consent. However, the way that, like I said, I don't know how many of your viewers saw the original clip of all that big cat, all that stuff she was talking prior to
I can't. My issue is I can't show it.
Whoever made that clip go viral, they did a hell of a job editing out that part to where she basically led him on. She basically was talking all that crazy to him, and I just feel like, don't do that. Like, you could blow anything up, but at least show the real. Like, don't make it seem like this man just flat out walked up to her and was like, "Come here," Like,
yeah, it's
don't
like
do
he's
that,
like he's pinned her up against a wall or something like that. That is
right,
not
and
what
that
occurred.
was not the case. That was not the case at all, unless that clip that I saw was edited too, but I highly doubt it, because I can tell when something is edited, and that didn't look edited. She sat here and was basically antagonizing that man, tried to make it seem like, yeah, come on, wait till this is over with. I got you.
Yeah, because
my next victim.
yeah, because that's
And
the same as if a man confronted another man and said, "Yeah, nigga, Grape Street. I'll see you after the show."
Right.
Think about that
Right.
for a few moments.
Right.
If a man had said that to another man, "Yeah, nigga, Grape Street. I can't wait to see you after the show, nigga." And now, how does this go?
No disrespect to the ladies. I'm sorry. We got to take this L. We have to take this L, because she was talking too good to him. She was talking too good to him. And before y'all keep doing all of that rah-rah stuff in the comments and trying to make it seem like, like, I don't even deal with YK Osiris like that. Don't know the dude, don't really care too much. But at the end of the day, he shot his shot. And that's what it was. She passed an event. He shot his shot. Maybe, yeah, it was too soon, in her eyes, like, hold on, fam. It wasn't supposed to be till after the event, but
Well,
he
no.
shot his shot.
Even after the event, no. What she is she's a big talker, and she is just this really loud, obnoxious performer. Okay, that's fine. Here's the problem. Her brand is built on the idea of blurring the lines, that there is no distinction between what you see on the internet and what she is in real life. Because the real thing is, take a look at her videos. Take a look at her interviews. Take a look at the interviews she's done. Her interviews are just as raunchy and XXX rated. So with that in mind, she's sitting up here faking as if she's something she's not. As men, we know, don't fake like you a gangster. All these dudes who get online, I'm a blood, I'm a crip. Man, don't fake with that. You're going to end up somewhere with somebody who's going to take you seriously, because you keep trying to blur the lines. Don't blur the lines, because you're going to meet somebody who's just not listening to nothing. As men, that's what we're taught. But as the women, they're being taught to fake their way through things for some little old whore attention. And in the process, you're lucky that this was televised, because there's a lot of young ladies out there who they're dealing with dudes who ain't playing games at all. So the hoes out there create an environment where they think everybody's playing because she's playing. See, Suki is a phony. No insult, Suki, but this ain't who you really are. You waited until now with the most milquetoast incident possible to expose it. But there's other folks out there, and they're not playing.
Wait, Jason. Before you keep going, I got a question since you brought that up. So a part of me was kind of like, okay, the way that she did this, maybe the limelight hasn't been on her side as much as, all people think that these celebrities, they don't have their moments, right? To where they not popping. They want to get back out in the media, and they want all this going on. Do you think that on her end, knowing how she is and knowing what she said to that man prior to him doing what he did, do you think this was just her moment to like, yep, I got to run the blogs in. I need my moment again. I need my camera time again. Do you think that was really her motive? Was that she just wanted her moment to get back out?
Part of it, this is
talk about her again.
Ever since I think that stupid thing before when she was saying she was Nigerian or whatever, but I mean, just this was another opportunity for her to be out there in a scandalous way, and I wouldn't have so much of a problem with that, except this has real world consequences for black men. That's the issue that I have, is that there are real world consequences going on here. There are real things happening.
Definitely.
The reason why I was bringing this up originally here is because Meek Mill had put up a tweet about this. I mean, he's been in jail. Meek Mill had to put up a tweet about this. Hey, this ain't a joke. This ain't a game. When they come after black men, they're coming after us for blood. Don't sit up here and say things. You can't create this criminalized environment for black men where I'll be damned. Kissing a chick now is sexual assault. That's not a joke, man. When somebody says that is sexual assault,
that you're in, and you get put on the list, you know, when you get put on those lists, it's hard to get out of that. You know, that follows you for the rest
just
of your
across
life,
the board.
Michigan.
For black men, just across the board, everything we do is criminalized. Everything. You got white men out here raping girls by the dozen at college frat parties and going home. Then you'll have a black male. Now, when the white men do something to black women, nobody criminalizes that. White men can do as they please.
Right.
But a black male kisses her, and all of a sudden we bring up the term sexual assault. You're only doing that because it's a black man involved.
Right.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller area code 346. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Jason Black? This is Black Wall Street, Houston. How you doing?
All right, Black Wall Street. What's on your mind?
Calling from Houston. Yeah, man, I'm glad you're doing this show, man, waking it all the way up. At first I was like, man, that don't seem like the right clip, because everybody was like, he was all in their mouth. But then I seen the other clip, and I hear y'all talking about it because I was a little bit delayed. But, yeah, man, I'm so glad you're waking about the whole caring factor, because that's the first thing that I thought about when I heard about it. I just heard what happened, and I seen some of the videos she's doing. All the raunchy shit she doing and just really tricking herself out there like that, hypersexualizing herself, and then expect that somebody might not misconstrue advances. And I didn't even hear the video where she was saying a bunch of stuff to him, so she was egging him on and stuff. Want to act all weird and funny when he makes an advance and everything. And
well, my whole thing is that I want folks to understand. Yes, that's why I mentioned this before, but I'll go back and recap this again. Yeah, we all have seen, or at least you all should have seen the clip where he holds her by the jaw and kisses her. Okay, here's the issue. The folks are saying that all of it, A-L-L, all of it is sexual assault, including what you see on your screen right now. That kissing her on the cheek like this, that this is sexual assault. Thank you very much for giving us a call. He's got a lot of noise going on back there. Let me get caller from area code 708. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This Sean calling from the west side of Chicago, the Austin area.
Okay, I thought it was Suki Hana on the line. I was about to say, all right, Suki, Sean, what's on your mind?
Right. So, first of all, Suki Hana is bogus for twerking on that little kid, right? And I'm glad, sir, you did that one broadcast when you had the little boy taking a picture of the lady when she was on that balcony. You know how she was in a swimsuit and had the little kid take a picture of her. These women continue to be perverts, basically. But let me go to who Suki Hana is, how I know her right. She part of like the Pinky era. You know how Pinky used to do the strap on or whatever. Pinky be messing with the men. Suki Hana, you could see her on the port thing because she like a squirter or whatever, right? She do it like no other. So yeah, I was wild when I first ran into her somewhere on floor, probably a long time ago. Anyway, Suki Hana, why is y'all acting like these women not eating men's booty. You know what I'm saying? Just like the lady in Laredo be having sex with that horse, doing all this bestiality. Just because Suki Honda came out and said she be eating niggas' booty, men booty. That's fine. I mean, it is what it is.
Auntie, chill.
What was the question? Oh, so look, I'm for real. If she
that's the problem I have. That's the problem I have with it. Is I think you're
look,
for real. That's the problem I have with it.
Yeah, I'm for real too, because what lame, no telling what she done heard about him in the industry. He probably be eating the niggas' booty, and she like, don't kiss me up, face. He probably had a cold sore, a herpes on his lip. The people in the concert, she had clothes on when they was touching her, and she was getting paid. So you need to pull out your power dynamic card on that. When at concert, she was getting paid to be touched. Dude kissing on her, she ain't getting nothing. That's all I was calling to say, sir. Thank you.
Y'all, sometimes I be scared to open these phone lines. There's literally no telling what's about to come across. Y'all don't know how terrified I am. It's just, wow, should I even take this call? Some of the stuff out there. Yeah, buddy. All right. So just, yeah. Yeah, that happened. Caller Miracle 321, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, it's me, Antoine from Orlando. And yeah, I agree with you. Another point here, another reason why she's so outrageous, I ain't seen nobody else tell you, but let's be honest about it. She ugly. She a butterhead. We all know ugly women and fat women have to do the most to try to get attention. Because if she was a bad chick, she wouldn't be doing all of this. I don't know any bad chick that act like her, well, at least not that publicly. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, when I first saw her, I thought she was a trans, to be honest, when I first saw her. You know, and if it wasn't for the fact that she has explicit videos, I really didn't think she was a woman, to be honest. And I don't know, I don't know why she's acting all brand new. I did see some videos that I guess she's trying to transition to be more respectable. It's too late. She
thinks she's gonna pivot. I mean, they've all watched. This is like the Kim Kardashian effect. Kim got on because of her video. Next thing you know, every slut burger out there is showing just how low their level of talent is. Tried to just imitate the same thing. None of them ever got off the ground. Now they've seen Cardi B, and Cardi B first is doing a lot of raunchy stuff. Next thing you know, she's doing commercials for Amazon or whoever that was, Walmart or something. Yeah, the Walmart for Mother's Day or whatever. Cardi B, of all people, for Mother's Day, but all right. So, yeah, there's a lot of folks out there who think, I can just do the same pivot if I can just get enough. What Suki is not recognizing or accepting is that that's not the way you came in. You came in differently than Cardi B, and your claim to fame is different. Just take a look at the chicks you have around you. Cardi's first real, Cardi wasn't out there with a bunch of bouncing 6'4s and a bunch of chicks with, stab wounds and multicolored Kool-Aid hair. That wasn't where Cardi came from. And they're misconstruing that. So, because you can clean them up. So in her case, that's what I was saying. She's not as clean as the others. Nikki went to Juilliard. So, I mean, she's basically an actress pretending to be a rapper. Cardi B is a stripper pretending to be a rapper. Suki is not Suki is taking on a lot of hoish stuff that you really can't walk backwards. You can't walk back all those tattoos. You can't walk back all that. And she thinks she's going to pivot because they all think they're going to pivot. And Suki is just the latest in a long line. Anybody remember Doja Cat?
Oh, yeah.
I can go down the list. Anybody remember them? Doja Cat. Who was the other one I can't think of because she was forgettable too. I forget who the other one was. They came off of social media. They hit hot for about 5 seconds, and then it was over.
Mm-hmm. I think with Cardi, at least with her, she kind of she tried to, as soon as she started popping, you could see that she tried to pivot quickly. Even when you see her go to Hispanic Awards, she acts so brand new when she goes to Hispanic Awards than when she go to BET.
Yeah, like
You know
I
what
say,
I'm
I mean,
saying?
definitely, like I say, that's something for us to look out for culturally, but for women in general, everybody's out here trying to do their personal little version of it. They think they're going to pivot. None of them ever made it. By the way, it's about time for us to start saying, anyone remember Meg the Stallion? Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. About time for us to start saying, anyone remember Meg the Stallion, isn't it? About time for us to start saying that, ain't it? On the milk carton. Caller from area code 701. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Ray calling from Fargo, North Dakota.
All right, Ray from Fargo. What's on your mind?
Oh, I was hoping you would do this, Jason. I really was, because I know so many people listen to you now. And, Suki, first of all, I want to, as a woman, as the other young lady stated, I do not want to come across like I am saying that consent is not needed whenever there are interactions between men and women. But Suki, she is not even the kind of woman that needs to sit there and act like, first of all, I don't even know why he would want to kiss her in the mouth. Like, she
Because they're in the
literally be
business.
having dudes toes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. If toes were all she had in her mouth, that would be bad enough. But we got a good word that toes are the nice end that she starts with. But what you just said there about, about getting consent. Problem. She's made a name for herself. That's why I wrote the video. This is on her Twitter from May 4th. Consent ain't never been a thing for her. And these are not actors or actresses. This is her in the real world at a show or something. Nobody getting consent to do a damn thing. But when a heterosexual male shows up, oh, you didn't get my consent. Wait a minute. They didn't get your consent. Well, I want to pick and choose on that. So what I'm saying is that's sending a clear message.
Sorry.
This isn't even a mixed message. This is a clear message.
Yeah, and then she does this to verbally, okay, because if we want to go there, I mean, she does this verbally to people, telling them what she'll do to them. She'll suck them from the rooter to the tutor. She literally does this to men verbally, just nasty, vulgar talk. And then I'm glad that you said something about how women will try to pivot, because no different than like Black China. It is something that us women really need to be reinforcing to the younger women, because for one, this is how you know people like her are so hungry. When they get in the game, they are willing to do whatever to try to chase some clout, chase some money. She was so hungry that she come in just completely and utterly being nasty. I'm sorry, but like they give Black China a hard time about trying to walk that back, how she had that image. Like, women, we have to understand, like, what you do, it follows you. If certain people accept you when you do try to pivot, cool. But when people don't accept that, that's on you.
Yeah,
and that's something that
how
we do
you
need
start
to
is
have
how
young
you
ladies
finish. How you start is going to be how you finish. You can't sit up here and say, folks, pivoting never really was reliable, and how you start is how you finish. Keep that in mind. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Okay, I've got, looks like I got Eric here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and light it up for you. I mean, electric. All right, I'm going to ask you about electric later. All right, brother, what's on your mind?
Oh, you talking to me, brother?
Yes, you're asking me about electric.
Sorry, I thought you was talking there. I apologize. My name is Kyle. I'm out of Atlanta, from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an electrician. But what's funny is I did security, the Sukihana situation. I used to do security for her, and that I spoke to her privately more so than what she does on camera, and I really realized how much of an act she put on for like camera, and like how degrading she did herself. Like, we were even on a tour bus, and there were some Nigerians. Now, she's not from Nigeria, not from what I know from meeting her personally, because we were on a bus with some Nigerians, and just how like that interaction with seeing from a Black American side, watching her interact with them, and how disgusted she was of that. But they literally were paying for everything, paying for the bus, paying for her section and all of that. And she just turned a blind eye, like these men weren't investing into her. So seeing this situation where she put another front on, like getting that young man enticed and unfortunately trapped. That was a terrible. I wish he never fell for that, but him getting trapped with that situation.
Yeah, you
and she
think you're
put
in
on
the
another
industry and you think you're in there with your peers, and you may be more about that life than they are. And when you don't realize that, by the way, this is just a chick fell off of social media. She hasn't been vetted.
Yeah,
she's
for
not
sure.
she's not
For sure.
known by anybody you know. That's another thing right there is, see, fellas need to understand when you're talking to a chick that nobody's vetted. Nobody knows
Yeah.
her. Nobody's vetted her. None of the folk you roll with can vouch for her. So this idea that, okay, well, she's the freak of the week or the flavor of the moment. Let me go ahead and see if there's some capitalization to be done off of it. Next thing you know, you find out that she's like, well, maybe you'd be more useful to me as a scandal. You
sure.
thinking, okay, we can just
For
hang
sure.
out for a moment. She's like, I might get more traction out of you dirtying you up, actually. So let me
For
see
sure.
how that goes. Because you can see she's left him hanging in the wind now for almost a week. Didn't say nothing.
For sure.
Knowing
For
he's
sure.
getting crucified out here. Knowing folks talking about sexual assault, which is a damn joke coming from Sukihana. But
Yeah, it is.
fellas need to be aware, man. A chick might decide, you know what, you're a whole lot more useful to me getting run over.
Man, speaking of that, I did it with her in Summer Walker Crazy. Those cars, all of that stuff, that's a facade. Those are other people's cars. They just post up in front of them and take photos and make it seem like it's theirs, but it's none of that stuff's theirs. These celebrities, they stay in regular apartments. None of that crazy mansions or anything like that. That stuff really is a facade. I got to Atlanta thinking it would be something good, but it's really a front. It's not. Most of
Everywhere.
that stuff leaves they paying foreigners. It's not.
You know,
it's
I
not
remember
black.
5 years ago when I went visiting the Lenox Mall, and it just struck me when I was there that it was Christmas time. I'm downstairs, upstairs. I'm on the first floor, second floor. You know, walking the doors and stuff. Stevie J was there, and I just realized walking through the whole place, all the dudes were dressed looking like Migos.
Yeah,
all the
for sure.
females are dressed like they wish they had a BBL.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just realized everybody's performing. All of you
Yeah.
people here, you might as well be walking around here with a demo tape. All of you are just performing. Everybody is walking around here acting like they're going to be signed somewhere. And that's the culture and the environment that you're in. Okay, that's cool. But don't sit up here and risk yours. If you're a person who's in the game, dealing with somebody who want to be in, that was the real reason he shouldn't have been putting his lips on her. Dude, you're in.
Yeah.
She wants to be where you are. She needs to earn that. You don't just walk up and bestow that. You got to earn that. Because understand something. If anybody else had done that besides, well, I'm talking about any other regular dude had done that, this wouldn't even be a story. YK does it, and she's milked this for as much as she can. That shows you that what he's got is more valuable than what she's got.
Yeah,
That's
for
the
sure.
reason he shouldn't have done that. Dude, she just showed you what you got is more valuable than her. Don't put yourself in compromising positions where someone can take your shine, transfer it to them, and leave you looking crazy.
For sure. Well, that's all. I just wanted to toss that in, Jason. I salute you. I will tell you, you called me as a young man. I called you when I was 22 years old. I'm 34 now, man. You changed my life. You're the reason why I'm an electrician, believe it or not. You had that podcast years ago where you had all the brothers call in and tell what the younger black men should have been doing. And that led me getting into this work. That's how I got into Atlanta. I moved from Florida, but you really done changed my life, brother. I have the most admiration for you. So that's all I wanted to get off. But I do appreciate the time that you gave me.
Well, thank you very much for taking out the time to call me and let me know that. And I hope I have contributed to your lives in a positive way. If I've done that, then I've justified my existence here.
For sure.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate that. That's heavy. I didn't expect that. That's heavy. Yeah, I mean, a decade in the game of going on 15 years in the game of doing this, and 23 years old. My God, it's been over a decade. I don't even remember what program he's referring to. I don't even remember which one he's talking about. But these are all my sons and all my daughters out there. These are all my sons and all my daughters. Anybody try to ask you, Jason, where are your kids? That was one of them. These are all my sons and all my daughters. And every once in a while they check back in with the old man, let him know how things are going. So, yeah. Father's Day coming up. That right there that's of all the gifts I could receive, believe it or not, that kind of thing, just knowing that you did make a difference and you did matter. That you actually did matter and they can tell you exactly what it was. Not just some, I like listening to you. It's like, no, you told me move this way, go into electrician work, go into CPA, go into IT. And then a decade later, they're like, man, this is the best decision I ever made. So, yeah, it kind of caught me off guard there. Once he said I was bodyguard for Sukihana, I'm like, okay, electrician, Sukihana, these two don't go together. Actually, it kind of does. All right, caller from area code 346. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, what's going on? It's Black Wall Street again. My bad. I had some noise in the background. I was on my laptop at work.
Okay, take your phone off of speaker.
Coming through that loud. So I just wanted to bring up one more thing. I don't know if you heard about the video about her twerking on a 10-year-old kid.
Okay, we already posted that. Thank you very much for giving us a call here, folks. Please pay attention. We got a live program here. Please pay attention. Call from area code 313. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, it's me again. I'm just calling back in.
Okay, no, you're not calling back in, folks. Keep your phone calls short, or I will have to assist you in keeping them short for you. You did not stop because it was accidental. You got plenty of time there, so please, folks. Jason, I'm calling back in. No need. You don't have to do that.
Auntie, chill.
Come on now. Let's get together. Call from area code 405. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, Al, Oklahoma City.
All right, Al, Oklahoma City. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Jason, I remember when you done a program about the concubine generation, and that's pretty much what this is. I wouldn't even say that it's that. It's probably even less than that, because when you have females now rapping, and even the subject matter is... The
females are way worse than the men. The real issue is the females are way worse than the men. The men are not anywhere near as vulgar and disgusting as the females are. The females are saying what the men say. The females go way past that. Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B, wet things. The men we've never said anything like that.
We like the WAP, don't get me wrong.
I challenge y'all. I challenge you to find Two Live Crew. Two Live Crew was not as vulgar as the females are today. Two Live Crew was not as bad as the female rappers, so-called rappers and social media folks, because not rappers. But these chicks hoping they could become rappers on social media. Two Live Crew wasn't as bad as them.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's really it's very degenerate as far as at this point. It's just, I don't know where it's gonna go, and it's just one of those things. But I'm gonna get off of here, bro. And great program, and again, definitely got to give you your flowers, brother. Keep it going.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Yeah, the fellas, the men, we've never been as vulgar as the females. These females today. Man, look here. We ain't got a candle to them. We can't hold a candle to none of them. These chicks are on a whole they are so sexually explicit that it turns us off as men. These gals are so degenerate and lurid and putrid that it sexually turns us off. You realize how bad you got to be and how far you got to go over the line that your sex talk is so disgusting it turns us off as men. Wow, I was ready for some sex till I saw you. I was like, I think I might give me a pizza. Netflix and chill. Yeah, I'm a Netflix and chill solo. I got Be with Sukihana, sit at home with some Haagen-Dazs. Let me get that Haagen-Dazs. Yeah, listen to her for a minute. Yeah. Think I'll turn incel. Think I'll do that. Black pill, red pill. Is there another pill color we got in there somewhere? Turquoise pill. Polka dot pill. Let me get one of them. That's how bad it is right now. Call from Aircode 404. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, my name is Bobby from Atlanta.
All right, Bobby from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jason, thank you for taking my call, man. I think the one thing that no one has pointed out, and if someone has pointed this out, please correct me, that we are forgetting that how much of this stuff was done in the past. I mean, because I'm 41 years old, and I remember when Little Kim came onto the scene. I remember when Trina came onto the scene. I remember when Mia X came on the scene with No Limit. All those older women, you know, Foxy Brown and so on and so forth, they came onto the scene, and they was talking raunchy. They had that sexual persona, but the difference was they had something that these females today do not have, and that's called talent. I know it's a foreign concept for a lot of these females out here today because they've been on social media, and social media has blown up their ego to the size of God knows what. But where are the Little Kims? Where are the Mia X's? Where are the Trinas
you can't
to
have
come
those.
in and guide these women?
No. Just remember what happened, okay, in the case of Lil' Kim. What about Lil' Kim? Take a look at where she's at today. In the case of Foxy Brown, what about Foxy Brown? Take a look at where she's at today. In the case of Trina, what about Trina? Take a look at where she's at today. So the difference was they were under some men. They were under some management. And those men guided them and made sure their careers and everything went like they were supposed to. Make sure the proper image was crafted for them. All of us know about Lil' Kim with the legs open with the leopard thing on. Okay, fine. But what I'm saying is that became iconic for a reason. That's why Nicki Minaj had to try to do her best imitation. I think Cardi B's tried to do it too. So that shows you that's the difference between being slutty and being provocative. Because it wasn't just about her throwing some draws out there. She had with the feather boa on or whatever. So it was a whole image that was given to that. These chicks, they have no tact. There is no image. She's just wearing this big ass pink mop on her head, but there's no image here. There isn't any. There's a difference between being sexy and being slutty. And once you cross that line over to slutty, it becomes something else. Trina, for example, Trina wasn't sitting out here throwing her BBL around. She might talk some of the talk, but she was really rather reserved compared to these alley cats. Trina was very reserved compared to them. And Foxy Brown was downright sanitized compared to even, some of the Nicki Minaj, whatever, they're downright sanitized. So these folks here, the older chicks and whatnot, you're right, they had to have talent, but they also came up under male management. How can I put this in street terms? You had gals who had a pimp, and then you got renegade hoes. And right now, social media is overrun with renegade hoes. She's just out here by herself. She's under no management. She's got no representation. She's got no protection. It's just renegade hoes. Because here's the killing thing about it. If she had been under some management, there's no way in the hell 20 years ago, if Lil' Kim or Trina was trying to come up and YK Osiris kissed them on the cheek, there's no way in the hell they would have let you turn that into a scandal. She'd be trying to do a collab. She'd be trying to use that. Her handlers would know you need to use that. They never would have done this. So there's the real irony, is that 20 years ago, Biggie, Puff Daddy, Suge Knight, they would have known to use this. Renegade hoes sit up here and try to manage themselves and run straight off the road. I'll let you have the last word.
And the worst part about it is, Jason, is that they know that the end is coming because, once you become that, once that perception is out there, it becomes reality. And that's the thing that I think these women fail to understand this. And it's a really simple concept. Your perception becomes reality. The perception of you becomes other people's reality of you. So if you're willing to go out there and hold yourself out, fine. But you need to understand that that's going to be other people's perception of you. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. And now you got a bunch of this generation of women trying to have it both ways, and they're learning a very hard, cruel lesson.
Well, she
and
hasn't
that
learned
lesson
it yet.
is going to hurt them later on in life.
Well, they haven't learned the lesson yet, because here's the real lesson. What man in the industry with something to lose is going to want to work with Sukihana after this?
I don't know who's going to want to work with her now.
Take a look at what happened. Well, I'm just saying, take a look at what she did to little old YK Osiris, little in comparison to some of the big wigs out there. Tell me the man in the industry with something to lose. Show me somebody with some real clout with something to lose who's going to want to put himself in a position for her to try to turn a Karen on him. Who's going to do that?
None.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Think about that for a few moments. She's sitting up here, let her emotions get the better of her. Nobody in her management to sit up here and tell her, hey, look here, don't sit up here and do this because you're going to make yourself a pariah. These other men are going to be like, you just turned a black Karen card. We don't want to fool with that. We're just like, you know what? It'd be better if we just didn't find out what your boundaries are. Because you might consider us all that triple X-rated talk you do, you might consider one of us doing X-rated talk with you to be crossing your boundaries too. So, hey, why don't we just make this simple? We just leave you over there. Let's just leave you over there by yourself. By the way, I need to get to this, because if I don't get to this, it's going to be like, Jason, you had a real weird thumbnail for some reason. Okay. Just Squirrely Things is back again. Doesn't know when to leave good enough alone, but Just Squirrely Things has decided that just in case she hasn't done enough white supremacist adjacent things, she's going for a whole new level of crazy now. She put up this post here a few days ago. Planned Parenthood was founded in 1910. The founder, Margaret Sanger, was a racist who said, "We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population." Blacks made up 15% of the population then and now make up 13%, a 2% nationwide decrease. Ooh, all caps. Why don't you see pro-black content creators cover this? This is little old cornball ass Squirrely Things in 2022. Now, I could just sit here and clown the hell out of her all damn day. I really, really could just go ahead and do that. I mean, if you just want to look on Twitter, don't even worry about YouTube. On YouTube, it goes back over a decade. This is what happens. Look, you make a fool of yourself like this, Pearl, trying to sit up here and think you're going to check the pro-black people. Ma'am, you make a fool and an idiot of yourself. You want to see what I've said about Margaret Sanger? This was my response about Roe versus Wade being overturned. This is me. Last year about supporting abortion is off code. Margaret Sanger was a white supremacist. Baby, you ain't just late. You stupid late. Where were you? This is me in 2020. Don't let the pandemic get you down. Don't let the pandemic get you down. Bombing on Planned Parenthood. And once again, not just talking about Planned Parenthood, but eugenics. And Margaret Sanger was a staunch eugenicist. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But yeah, baby, while you over there being pro-white, trying to do your best Karen impersonation, if this is supposed to be image rehab, it just fell flat on his face. It just fell flat on his face, ma'am. While you were sitting up here kissing Nick Fuentes' ass, you would have known what we were over here doing. You just showed up in 2023. We've been doing this summers and winters. And furthermore, don't try to pretend that all of a sudden you love black folks, because when we go down your timeline, oh hell. Now this is from Mr. Suleiman Ahmed. But by the way, Pearly Things retweeted this. 13 hours ago. Oh, man. Breaking. Population collapse in UK and the world impacting white people. Oh, let's just see what you retweeted here, Pearl. I'm sure there are some pearls of wisdom, pardon the expression. Breaking population collapse in the UK and world impacting white people. The UK is currently experiencing a significant decline in its population. It is important to address this issue honestly. The Caucasian population is diminishing and will be eradicated. That is coming from this gentleman. Just thought I'd point it out. Mr. Suleiman Ahmad. This decline can be attributed to the widespread adoption of an extreme liberal leftist ideology whose focus is feminism. As a consequence, there has been a decrease in the number of Caucasian individuals having children, and Christianity has become a minority religion in the country. In the past, Christians were concerned about the potential loss of their nation to external invaders. Weren't the Christians the invaders? However, what we are witnessing now is not an invasion, but rather internal self-destruction. Sir, internal? Internal. Internal? Mr. Ahmed? Internal. Did I miss something? Internal. I missed something? Boy. Okay. While the alt-right spent the last 2 decades vilifying Muslims, they failed to notice that their own offspring were being swayed by the influence of the extreme liberal left, which emphasizes feminism and promotes LGBTQ values. One cannot help but wonder what short-term and long-term solutions can be implemented to address this population decline. Please note this point is laced with sarcasm, as the answer seems quite apparent. However, many individuals are not able to acknowledge the truth. Now, did you notice something here, folks? I want to point this out real quick before I get back to the phone lines. Do you notice that he said, while the alt-right spent the last 2 decades vilifying Muslims, but you do understand that Muslim is not a race. Muslim is a religion, but it's not a race. Now, most of you who are followers of ours for years, and I don't want to cross-promote what we do, but you know what the word Iran means. You know what the word Iran means. Okay, but you do understand that you also need to look up what Hyksos means. So you got to understand that the Middle East is actually filled with people who are basically of white descent. So that's why he makes the distinction here that the alt-right spent the last, it wasn't 2 decades, but anyway, sir, the last decade vilifying Muslims. So he wants to make the point here. Just thought I would point it out. I want to make a point here. Just thought I'd point it out. And Pearly Things felt that this was important enough and significant enough to repost. Right after she wants to try to lecture us about who should be talking about these things. Couldn't help but notice that. So this has been your weird moment of the week. Compliments of your girl Pearl. Weird moment of the week. All right, let me get caller from area code 202. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Try again. Caller from area code 202. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Okay, mine is 202. I think it might be another person on here with 202. Can you hear me, Nicole?
What is your name?
Nicole from Washington, D.C.
Hello, Nicole from Washington, D.C., and what is on your mind?
I said it like 3 times. I was calling in regards to just something you said earlier. I just have a different
Okay,
take
baby,
on
it
that.
sounds like you are on a pay phone in Poughkeepsie somewhere.
Then I'm at work. I'm about deep. Hold on. Let me see if I can walk.
Okay.
Okay, is that any better?
Okay, what is on your mind?
In regards to the Sucky Honda situation. I am not a fan of hers by any. Is that a no? I'm not a fan of hers by any means. However, I will say I don't think it's okay for someone to just walk up to anyone, be it male or female, and just kiss someone.
Okay, do you also
I find her
think,
to be grotesque.
by the way, do you
As far as
also,
her-
I understand that, but the question is, do you also think that it is grotesque to just walk up to a performer during a concert and grab them by their good and plenties?
Yes.
Okay. You do
However,
okay,
if
slow
you're
down,
talking about
slow
that
down
performance,
before you make your point now. Make sure you have some context to
I'm
what I'm saying. Because you understand that there is a difference between verbal communication and nonverbal. What is the nonverbal communication that Suki Hana has been sending to the world now for 6 or 7 months?
She is a very
that her body is a sexual free-for-all
fluid
in
individual.
every video, in every post, in every tweet, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
And the nonverbal communication that she's been sending has been explicit, it's been overwhelming, and it's been 100% consistent. So what you're saying now is that we shouldn't pay attention to what a person says, nor what the person does. We should pay that no mind whatsoever.
I wouldn't say don't pay it any mind.
Okay, then how? Okay, but then how much gravity should their words and their actions, when they both coincide, how much gravity should they get?
I don't think anyone whatsoever should just walk up to someone and grab them.
Okay, well, yeah,
put
you
their hands on them.
shouldn't do that unless you're a person who has communicated that you're okay. I literally just showed the part. You can see, well, it looks like a random female just running up and grabbing her butt cheeks. So you can't say that and then
Well, that
say,
happened to Busta
okay, but
Rhymes.
ma'am, that's
I'm sorry.
okay. You made a point, and your point was it's not okay to just run up and randomly grab somebody. As we're watching her in the real world, allowing people and inviting them, because she falls off the stage deliberately, inviting people to grab her without asking. So how are you reconciling those two things? I'm showing you video evidence that she's perfectly fine allowing strangers to grab her randomly, and then you're saying, well, I don't believe you should do that. Well, then what is this?
If that's what she chooses to allow during her performance, that is on her.
Right, but where does the
time,
performance end? Where does the performance
Wait,
end?
I'm sorry?
We can't just say if she allows that during her performance. Problem. Where does the performance end?
Well, if she's just sitting there and someone walks up to her and starts to
Okay,
touch her,
let's try this a second
me,
time.
that's-
Where does the performance end?
when she's not performing.
I'm very glad you said that,
I'll go
because
with
you
that.
do understand that she's
Yeah, I'll
done
go
the
with
same.
that.
Okay, but you do understand she's done the same thing in sit-down interviews. I can't play them here. Like much of what she's done is too damn explicit. I can't play it here. You do realize she's done the exact same thing in sit-down interviews. She was doing this raunchy talk, she was doing that same raunchy talk right before this event occurred. And you're saying ignore all of that. So none of that was while she was rapping on stage. These are situations where she's talking one-on-one and talking to people and still has that same energy.
So is this the first time in which someone just came up to her and just kissed her? I mean,
Okay,
as far
does
as
it
just
matter?
sitting down having a conversation.
Okay, does it matter?
It does. It does.
Why?
Just because we might be having a sexually charged conversation, that doesn't give anyone the right to get up and grab. Like, I don't have the right to grab you. You don't have the right to grab me.
Right, but
and if I don't like it, I can
and
tell
that's
you, hey, look,
perfect,
don't
and
do
that's
that.
perfectly reasonable. A rational, reasonable person would expect that, unless, of course, they see you repeatedly doing the opposite.
Yeah, because
And what you're saying,
understand
something.
That 10-year-old, I'm getting
The situation that we have today with females, y'all got to understand. There's a reason why for females today. There's a reason why men who are more experienced, more seasoned, more knowledgeable at your jobs sit up here and cut y'all off. and say, you know what?
I have an issue with
slow
with
down.
women doing it too. Like
But here's the point.
rhymes. I thought that was disgusting.
Here's the point. Men don't want to put themselves in a situation where women are temperamental and emotional and exploitative and deciding, well, I want these to be the rules until I don't want them to be the rules. And I won't tell you, I only want it when I want it and when it's advantageous. And that changes from second to second. Well, the only logical response from the men is just to say, you know what, let's just leave you all alone. And when it's time to discuss promoting, when it's time to discuss marketing, when it's time to discuss upgrading, we just leave you out of it. Now, that's the situation it creates, is because if it's just too treacherous for men, then the men just pull back altogether. You're watching this happen in the workplace. You're watching this happen in corporate America. You're watching this happen in politics. The women don't have access to the same institutional knowledge and training that the men have, because the men who created it are just like, you know what? It's not even safe to talk to the women one-on-one because they're constantly trying to figure out some way to exploit it and take advantage of it to our detriment. The only safe move is to simply not give them a lane so that they can't pull one of these bait and switches. Because let's be clear, what Sukihana did was a bait and switch. Now, she can say, well, it's my brand or whatever, fine. But your brand also was being executed during sit-down interviews. All over your Twitter, random places in public. You've destroyed, for those of us who own corporations, there's something called piercing the corporate veil. For those of you, I'm not going to assume you know what it is, but for those of you who don't know what that means, for those of us who own corporations.
Now I work in law enforcement.
Well, for those of us who own corporations, bottom line is what it means is that when you make money, you need to have a separate bank account for your business. You cannot commingle funds. It's very tempting to do that, but just understand you're setting yourself up for tremendous liability and risk. The reason is because let's just say that all the money I make, I just put it all in my personal bank account because I can't be bothered to set up an LLC and have a separate bank account and to have, a separate corporation and file my taxes separately. But the problem is if I ever get sued, I can't walk into court and say, wait, Your Honor. Now, see, you can sue the business, but you can't sue Jason Black, you see, because we are two separate things. And what they upset about, they're having for the business. And the judge is like, okay, let me take a look at your corporate paperwork. Whoa, you don't have any corporate paperwork. Let me take a look at your bank accounts. Whoa, all the money that you make from all these ventures, including the business, goes into that one bank account. You can't now come into the courtroom and say, wait now, you can only touch the part about the business because you're the one who pierced the corporate veil. You're the one who didn't make a clear distinction between these entities. Therefore, you cannot protect it. You can't walk into court now and claim, well, no, I was only given permission to that part over there now, Your Honor. What I'm saying is that this defies all logic and reason. And the problem is in the modern age, female refusal to have accountability makes a schizophrenic society. And that's where we are now with schizophrenia. And now they're like, oh, we're upset with schizophrenia. Because here's the other thing. If Sukihana has no problem rubbing herself on a kid, but yet a man kisses her, it doesn't stand. Her emotional response, a man simply kisses her on the mouth. Now, that's sexual assault. That's over the line. Her sitting up here getting down on a kid, and that doesn't register to her that this is wrong. So what the men do is wrong. What you do to a child, so the children are just not protected? This is the same
it's supposed
person.
To be okay. Yeah, I agree with you.
What I'm saying is, can someone explain to me why she had outrage at YK Osiris and she felt no outrage or shame towards herself for what she does with her child? I don't think this person has the same psychology. I think this person is either schizophrenic or this person is lying about being outraged.
And I'm leaning towards lying about it. That, hearing your point, which you just said, now I'm leaning towards it's false outrage. Yeah.
Well, here's the issue.
Disregard what I was. Well,
here's the issue. I get it.
It applies, but not to her.
Well, no, absolutely. No one should be running in a perfect world. You don't go around doing that. But what I'm also saying is that we're adults and we're responsible for what we say and what we do. We're responsible for that. Tekashi 6ix9ine is responsible for going to other people's hoods, talking about, yeah, I'm on your block, nigga. Okay. Well, I'm an entertainer. I have First Amendment rights. Dude, you're about to get some First Amendment rights and lefts. And some feet, too. So, yeah, you have a right to speak, but just understand there will be consequences for what you say. Well, those are extra legal. You can call it whatever you want to. There will be consequences for what you say as a person. You can't sit up here and say, I'm going to abuse. A person is well advised not to abuse their rights. You have rights and you are well advised not to abuse them. And that is what you see with her now. What I'm saying is, ladies, don't abuse your rights. Don't abuse the access. Don't sit up. Do not, under any circumstances, send mixed signals. Just like I said before, when a man says he's going to protect all women, and then y'all are in a bind, and you see him there, and like he's not lifting a finger to protect you, you wouldn't feel like he has a right not to do so. You would feel what? Betrayed. Hey, you said. And when his words and his actions don't match up, you ain't gonna let him off the hook. If your boyfriend told you that, you would, if he was a rapper and your boyfriend was talking about he's all body and gully, and then you sit up here and get hemmed up and he sits up here and lets you get stomped out, you're not gonna come back the next day with him, well, baby, that's my persona on stage. You're not gonna accept that for an answer. And that's you in the real world. You won't accept that. So what I'm saying is, our parents and grandparents told us something. Don't start something you can't finish. Do not sit up here rubbing yourself on these men and you're not about that life. Don't do that. Do not make these men, don't even imply that you are available to these men in that way. Make your little old songs, get your ass off the stage, and do like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. When you give an interview, it's, oh, I'm a different person over here. See, that's where she's messed up. Nicki Minaj and Cardi B did not pierce the corporate veil. They didn't blur the lines. When they got off that stage, there was also, you couldn't talk to them just any old kind of way. That was the difference.
Makes sense.
I'm glad it does. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. And what I'm saying here is definitely under no circumstances, no, you shouldn't be putting your hands on the women if they without permission, or on the children. Or on the children without permission. Actually, there's no permission you can give for the kids, so scratch that. You shouldn't be putting your hands on the women without permission, and you shouldn't be putting your hands on the kids at all. At all. Not like this, anyway. Not like this. You might be able to get permission for something, but never for this. Having a teaching moment tonight. We're having a teaching moment. All right, let me get my man Dan up here on Zoom. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Jason Black? I was just, I definitely had to chime in on this one. Oh, by the way, first and foremost, I'm definitely from out west. I'm from the Ulster area too, because I heard you a couple programs ago. I know you was defending me, and I want to thank you for that.
It's no problem.
You know. So yeah. So I'm from the Ulster area. It's the same area where that lady Shauna called from. I'm from that area. So far with that Sukihana situation, man, I won't be surprised if the wife. I won't be surprised she capitalized that for an opportunity to make her multimillionaire, man, with the Me Too movement and all that other shit. But chicks like that, I've seen chicks like that who's real phony like that in real life. The best solution is stay away from chicks like that, who's faking it like that, because those be the first one to get your ass wrapped up in some shit that you really can't even get your ass out of.
Yeah, and that's the reason why she's not going to be able to make it in the business, because the men now are on notice. It's like, oh, hell, she's a black Karen, and nobody who has something to lose is going to risk himself being, quote, the next YK Osiris. Because when her little fame fades and things go south, the only thing she can do is find somebody that she can flip on and turn over and see if she can Me Too him. When this little old slut money dries up, she's going to have to find a dude to flip and try to see if she can exploit it. Because she hasn't developed anything else.
Yeah, that's because what she doing, that's extremely dangerous, because I did time before. I did time twice. I did time in the Arctic home, did time in the been in prison twice. Man, I done chopped it up with certain dudes and read a lot of dudes' cases. Man, boy.
You just don't want to put yourself in a position, period. What I'm saying is that as men and women, like I say, that's what I was saying. That as a man, we know there's certain things. You don't talk to other men this no kind of way. You don't just talk to them any old kind of way. If you from South Side and he from West Side, or you from West Side and he from South Side, there's a reason we call it set tripping. Set tripping isn't something you do. Set tripping is just you said something. Or you showed up somewhere looking in a manner that you know is provocative to these other people. You try to do that talking about your damn First Amendment rights. You done come from the South Side to the West Side, set tripping, talking about your First Amendment rights. And as men, we understand you do not do that. You don't. Especially if you ain't about that life. Now, if you are, it's going to go down how it goes down. But if you're not about that life, you don't even, you first need to get taught, man, don't even try this. Real gang members tell square folk, hey, don't fake like us. You're going to find yourself in a situation. I'm ready to handle it. You're not. You ain't ready to do what we going to do. You ain't ready to go to prison. You ain't ready to get shot. So you need to quit imitating folks who ready to go to prison and ready to get shot. Because you're ready to do neither. And all you're going to do, you're more likely to get killed simply because you don't know when to duck. You don't know when to run. You don't know when to bust back. And you ain't got nothing to bust back with.
Yeah, because most people who get hurt like that, who try to portray the image, those be the main ones that always be the target. What's they call it, collateral damage. Them be the main ones that always get targeted. It never be the actual dudes who really on the front line. It's always the ones that's try to quote unquote fake it, but yeah.
Watch what you say, watch what you do, bro. Like I say, just don't imitate something that you're not. You sending false signals. As men, we understand, do not do that, because if somebody confronts you, it ain't gonna be no stage name, it ain't gonna be I was playing, it ain't gonna be no I was trolling. When they run up on you, they're gonna be like, keep that same energy. And as men, we understand somebody can get hurt, somebody can get killed. We don't play that game at all. The grandmamas and mamas used to teach their daughters not to do that either. Now in the social media era, they out here taking all kinds of chances. And furthermore, that's not even what's happening to her. I'm just making the point that, by the way, if you ain't about that life, don't even edge on it. Don't even edge on it. If you're a little square chick, be the best little square chick you can be. But all this faking and fronting, that's not going to do nothing but cause problems. Thank you very much for getting this call tonight, Dan. We appreciate that. Let me get back over here on Blog Talk. I got about a dozen folk here. Let me get caller from area code 901. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Why don't your pickaninny ass just shut the hell up about that white girl? Just pearly things. Shut the hell up. Think you obsessed with her.
Well, somebody's looking for an ass to kiss, I suppose. Now, folks, you know how this goes. So I hope he's very, very charged up. He's like, why you mess with white mommy? Why are you doing that? I hope somebody does a wellness check for him. I hope somebody does a wellness check. I wouldn't want him to be lonely. Obviously, he's in need of a friend. So I don't know. I hope somebody does a wellness check. If anybody knows him or knows who he is, let us know, and maybe we can do a wellness check. Call him area code 267. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening. This is Tammy calling from Williamsport, PA. How are you? I just wanted to say, I don't know who this woman is that much, but what you presented to me today, it just makes me sick. I don't understand how nobody beat down that woman for rubbing on that boy the way she did. And I'm convinced that there's more female pedophiles than there is men, because you obviously see the females that's walking by and no one did anything. As a matter of fact, that one girl behind her had a smile. And this culture is just disgusting. And I honestly,
well, it kind of says to you
where we go from here.
It kind of says to you that they hate men. It kind of says to you that they hate men. and they're looking for a man, or in this case, even a male, that is like the white supremacist mindset. They're targeting children. Well, after all, he can't fight back. And if you do run into a dude out there somewhere, well, see if you can victimize him. See if you can get him in a compromised position where he can't fight back. But I'm noticing a consistent pattern of behavior. It's a bunch of women out here today. They really hate men. And what you recognize is when you're dealing with the world of molestation, remember, molesters don't love kids. Molesters don't like children. Molesters are, that's what we call it, harming children, because they actually don't like children, because they don't like themselves, and they're acting out this hostility they have towards themselves as a child because of something that happened to them. So just as someone assaulted and attacked them, they are now assaulting and attacking another child. Right. So when you got women doing this to male children, what they're saying is, I don't really like them. And worse, here's the worst part. When you have a group of women in your society, when you have a whole segment of your female society signing off on this behavior, pushing this behavior, complimenting and defending this behavior, disregarding this behavior, it tells you that this is a cult of anti-male hatred. And that they're giving birth to sons so that they can finally have a male that they can abuse with impunity. I'll let you have the last word.
Quick question. Okay. Do you think, well, I know this is going to backfire, but do you think there's going to be a spike of killing of females? Because I've been looking at like different places.
Oh, I certainly hope not.
Like murder.
My God, I certainly hope there isn't. Lord, no. Thank you very much for giving us a call. No, I certainly, no, we don't want that. No. There's no place for that. No. What we need to have is communication and understanding, but no. Ted Bundy, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Caller from area code 412. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. What is your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Maya from Pennsylvania.
All right, Maya, from where at in Pennsylvania?
Pittsburgh.
All right, Maya from Pittsburgh. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to also bring out another point of awareness that I wanted to point out, because I find it very weird and strange that all of these women are, from the Shuki to Cardi B to Nicki Minaj, Doja Cat, Gorilla, Ruby Rose, Foxy Brown. They're all foreign black women. They're not black American women. So that's basically a full infiltration of women from another community. Can you hear me?
Ma'am, if you ask, can we hear you again? I'm
sorry. It was just so silent. I just thought for a minute I had got cut off. Sorry about that.
Y'all are not used to used to being listened to. And I find this is a common thing. Folks not used to being listened to.
It's just like I didn't hear anything, so I just thought I thought I had dropped off for a minute. Sorry about that. But it's just all these women from another community basically coming into Black American women's community with all this degenerate behavior. And Black Americans, we're going to have to start getting more aware of, like, this is kind of like a sabotaging type of infiltration, type of like CIA op. Almost like CIA
the women are going to have to stand up, because the men have been saying this. The women have been AWOL. The women have been silent. They're sitting up here trying to figure out how to have a sisterhood. Let's be very, very clear about that. Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, all the rest of them, they're trying to figure out how to have a sisterhood with these women. So for the men, that's who's ganging up on the men. YK Osiris is the black women who are not immigrants who are going after him. So you're going to have to, as the women, y'all are going to have to take the lead on speaking up about this, because if the men do it, they call it misogyny or misogyn war. If the women are going to have to take the lead on it, or you will be swallowed up by these others, And they will be the ones that create the image and the society for you to live in. So it's either fight or flee.
My theory about it is that I just feel as though, because I have seen her on videos before talking about how she did a sacrifice and she made deals with the devil. So it's almost like these people are deliberately coming in here to corrupt the image of Black America. Now, Black American women, yes, but they're doing it to corrupt Black America, period. And these immigrants, they come in here,
once
even
again,
like with the manosphere.
Yeah, once again,
from the manosphere
you're going to have to
also,
deal with the
of
situation on the ground. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. You're going to have to deal with that on the ground. As the women, you're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with that. It's going to be up to the women. If that's something that you have an issue with, you're going to have to stop talking about everything else and stop talking around it. And you got to take the heat to the problem. You can't keep talking to the men who are over here on your side. You can't keep talking to us. We've made the point. It's time for you women to get up off your butts and start saying that we're not going to allow these other folk here to set the tone and to set the image for us. But talking to the men ain't going to change anything. When you get around them, it all becomes about sisterhood, and it becomes about deflecting, and then it becomes about, well, men hating. No, y'all are going to have to do something that you've been trying to avoid now for the last 3-4 decades. You're going to have to bust up the sisterhood and start having standards for who your sisters are. Because what y'all do is say, well, it don't matter where they from. As long as they help us beat up on the men, then we good. No, that ain't going to work. You're going to have to turn around and say, okay, let's take the issue to them and tell them, hey, you ain't one of us. You're off code. Because y'all sit up here and start going sisterhood, and it's like, ooh, they making us look bad. Well, you've been having sisterhood the whole time, and none of you are speaking up to them. Talking to Jason Black is not going to get the job done. Going over there and throwing some elbows, that's what gets the job done. Well, we can't do that. Why not? Because y'all might run things. We're supposed to run things. But never mind. You don't like that? Fine. Let Sookie, with the good Sookie, sit up here and craft your image for you. Caller from area code 225. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi. Hey, Jason. How are you?
Okay, folks, tonight are arm wrestling with their phones. Let's try this one more time. Caller from area code 225. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm T Diamond.
Hello,
calling
T
from
Diamond.
Colorado, and I just had a question.
T Diamond from Colorado, and what's on your mind?
Okay, so you were talking about Pearly things when she was talking about Margaret Sanger and why don't pro-Black people speak out about abortions. But from my experience being a Black American woman, most Black women don't have abortions. And my question, it might be a stupid question, but I'm just curious what your take on it is. Like, why are Black people against abortions? But it don't seem like Black people have a lot of abortions because from my experience, Black women will have a baby when they don't have the money to do. The man is not there. They have to depend on the government. They'll have babies with different men.
Let's put this in its context. First of all, Pearly Things she is not a legitimate participant in any discussion about Black people whatsoever. She's certainly not a legitimate contributor to a conversation about Black people and abortion. The only reason, understand, she started off talking about Planned Parenthood and wiping out the Black population. She doesn't stick to Planned Parenthood. She doesn't isolate her attack on Planned Parenthood. She did all of that as a setup to go after, quote, pro-Blacks. As if we control Planned Parenthood. As if we control the abortion budget. As if we are the ones who set up the clinics, as if Margaret Sanger was a pro-Black. So just understand, she sets up this whole false straw man argument for the purposes of sticking the landing on being against pro-Black. Now, if you're talking about Margaret Sanger, why didn't she end talking about Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger? So that tells you I'm here to attack quote pro-Blacks. Let me find something that will get at them, and she flopped flat on her face. All the comments have been coming in ever since here. She just barfed all over herself. Now, let's go to the issue that you were referring to here. Certainly, I mean, at this point right now, you've got tens of millions of Black babies that have been aborted since 1975. Not thousands, not hundreds of thousands, not millions, tens of millions. That's not a small number. You got some areas where black females are out here and done had 3 and 4 abortions. That's not a small number. That's not an insignificant thing. The fact that you might think, now here's the part you need to be aware of, because here's the other issue. Where are you from originally? Because you're not from Colorado.
Yeah, Louisiana.
There
South
you go.
Louisiana.
South Louisiana. Do you even want to know what the abortion numbers are down there? And I'm from Northwest Louisiana. We had one
You could
abortion.
tell me.
We had one abortion clinic in Northwest Louisiana. One. Meanwhile, down there in New Orleans, yikes. So what I'm saying here is that you might think that the women that you know have, none of the women you know have had an abortion. Statistically speaking, that's simply not possible. It's simply not possible. So you might not have asked enough questions, or maybe you didn't want to probe into them or whatever, but no, that's simply not possible that you don't know a woman who's had an abortion. It's not a black woman who's had an abortion from New Orleans. That's unless you only know 2 black women in New Orleans, your mom and your grandmama. Unless that's the case, the answer, statistically speaking, that answer is no way. Not no, but no way. So if you ask enough questions, you'll find out they probably didn't want to claim one at first or whatever. But you let me talk to them, and they'll come up off of it. They'll come up off of it. So it's far more prevalent than it should be. And it has effectively accomplished the goal. You didn't have to annihilate all of us. It simply holds our numbers steady. That's the problem. It doesn't allow our numbers to do what the Asian numbers have done, what the Latino numbers have done, what the Arab numbers have done. It's simply to make sure our numbers don't get any bigger while you allow all these other groups to flourish. That was the goal. We don't have to wipe them out. We just got to hold their numbers steady. Now, once we sit up here and get our corporations to promote slut culture, even if we got to bring in immigrants who look like them, which is the other prong they've been using, they've been bringing them in gigantic numbers since 1969, kicked up in the 80s. Mm-hmm. But if we just bring in other folk here to promote this culture among them, then it'll be a monster that feeds itself. And all we got to do then is just watch the numbers hold steady. Now you put that together with promoting this over-sexualization, and now you're giving birth to children in poverty, which makes it more likely that abortion becomes an option. Because instead of talking about what you can do, we have promoted you to accept slut culture. The problem with slut culture is no man wants to attach himself to a woman who is a devotee of slut culture. So it guarantees you're just going to be a slutty little single mom if you have the kid. So once again, it makes it more likely that you'll have an abortion. Because we're not promoting family, we're promoting sexuality. Now, let's be very, very clear. We can't really name the white version of Sukihana now, can you? All these white women out here, but let's just keep it real.
Miley Cyrus.
Well, Miley Cyrus, oh my goodness, ma'am. I don't even think a BBL would work on that. I don't think it would work on her. It would look like she's smuggling, a bassinet into the room. No, folks, not Whoa Vicky, not Bad Bobby, not Madonna. No. Y'all, those you can't compare any of those to Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Sukihana. There's no white version. All you can name are a bunch of white chicks who are at worst PG. Iggy Azalea ain't doing none of this. Iggy Azalea isn't doing any of what Suki is doing. And here's the reason why. Because the white corporations will not promote it. They won't promote Miley Cyrus going all the way. They won't promote Bad Bobby, what's his name, Daniela Bregoli. They won't promote that. Whoa, Vicky, they won't put no money behind that. They can get on the internet, but they ain't gonna put no money behind that. By the way, who did Iggy Azalea have to get mobbed up with to get her name big?
Yeah.
Thank you. So it wasn't even any white corporations willing to do that with her. Who had to get behind Lady Gaga? And she ain't did no twerking or nothing like that. But by the way, when it is a white woman who got to come up, behind Lady Gaga was Akon. So when you think about it here, these corporations ain't really trying to boost these women like that. They see you hang out with too many Negroes. They see you too adjacent to so-called black culture. Oh, we're pulling the plug on that, baby. We're not going to put no money behind you. You might make $1 million, but it won't be with our help. It won't be with our help. So just understand, the reason you haven't seen a white version of Suki is because they're not going to put no money behind that. They want something different. They're not going to put their money behind a white woman who is going to completely disparage them. Not going to do it. So as a white woman, you can only go so far. As a black woman, you can tear the frame out, but we already know what your purpose is. And your purpose is just to sit here and pollute the environment. If you're good at it, we'll let you run for a little bit. If you're bad at it, that's okay. There's 1,000 others standing behind you. Now, they will put money behind that. There's a reason you haven't seen another, India Ari or anything like that. There's a reason you haven't. So, yeah, we're not really trying to promote that. This is warfare. This is war. And by the way, Pearly Things knows it. But this is war. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now, let me get caller from area code 562. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
How you doing? This is Elton from Long Beach. And to kind of echo on the points that you were making, I've worked in the medical field for the last 10, 11 years. And in regards to the young lady who spoke about the abortions and what have you, there's been, since 72 in Roe versus Wade, there were 60 million abortions, of which 20 million were black women, black or brown. And if you look at the Scissors report, in the footnotes, they did a demographic analysis, and we were projected to be a population of 175 million by this time. But if you abort enough people, when you et cetera, you're stuck to the 42, 43 million we have now, from the 28 million at the time of the Scissors report.
Yeah, I mean, America didn't have color television, but it was promoting abortion. Think about that for a few moments.
Yeah.
And this is why I bring up to people about the Nazis, because Nazi Germany and what they did with the Jews, and it's a fascinating study in debauchery and, barbarism. But Nazi Germany learned about eugenics from America. It learned phrenology and all that from America. America didn't learn that from Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany learned segregation and apartheid. It learned that from America.
To add into that point on the earlier part of your program, I can give you a ground roots reflection of what's actually happening. Because of the Me Tooing of people and professions. A couple 3 years ago, just before the pandemic, I was working in, I'll say, a Big Ten school. I won't tell it just particularly. And I was working with the head of surgery and head of the residency program for surgery. There's only 50 in the country. And one night when I was working with them, and it was like 2 a.m, and all the applications came in for the residents, and there was only 20 surgical residency slots. And that's sitting next to somebody teaching you how to be a surgeon thing. That's what residency is. It's like being a craftsman. And we took all of the applications for the women and put them to the side, pulled 2 out. One was a daughter of one of the partners of the practice, and another was a nurse who had gone back to the med school and become a surgeon. And that was it. All the rest were nixed. And the reason why was for that is they didn't want to get blown up 10 years after the fact, because somebody made them uncomfortable when they reach around you to teach you how to actually do surgery a lot of times in OR. And I've seen this with my friends in other professions, whether it be architecture, whether it be law, all of these professions that the women are supposed to be going into. The women who are there, they may have their place, but moving forward, you'll see a significant drop in the pipelines because of this. And
yeah, you can't get risen up in these fields, if you don't have mentorship. You can't get there. It isn't going to happen. And if you came not for the purposes of working, but seeing if you could come up on some trick money or see if you could try some gotcha tactics, just understand eventually as men, survival is more basic to us than sex. And eventually we just say, you know what? Just close all the doors. It'll be some idiots who get caught at a low level, but a man with something to lose, he's going to be like, you know what? It would be just better if I talk to the men and the women are at a distance. Problem. Anybody who's read the 48 Laws of Power or anything else, you got to get close to power. You can't get empowered and you 50 miles away. You got to get right next to it. The more time you spend around the people who got what you need, the quicker and faster you'll pick it up. If they're making it a point to stay away from you, then you're always going to be A, behind at best, or B, left out altogether at worst. That kind of distance is deadly for you. Caller from area code 504. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. This is G from New Orleans. How you doing?
G from New Orleans. What's on your mind?
I'm doing fine, bro. Forgive me if I'm talking a little bit under the weather from this trip, but I had to call in. I want to ask you a question and a comment, and I'll try and be as quick as I can. My first question: do you think there's a possibility that incident, just curious, could have been a stage or setup of some kind? Only because if you look at the video before, I believe this was at a Little Duval press conference, and some dude from YouTube tried to kiss him in the mouth, and his security came on late, threatening the guy. And I'm just wondering, do you think that's a possibility with Sukiana?
There's always the possibility that this could be staged or whatever. Here's the problem. The folks talking about YK Osiris online ain't playing. They're not in on the joke. Right. They're not in on the play. So if this is staged, he's got people in the real world using the word sexual assault. And here's the problem. While he might be able to guarantee that Sukihana will not attempt to do anything to him legally because of this, what is to prevent another female from doing it and saying, see, this, he's got a record of doing this? What's to prevent them from doing it? So there's the real danger here, is that even if they're playing, the folks online ain't playing with you. They're serious. They're dead serious.
Right.
They're out for blood. That's the problem.
Right, and the internet never takes it back, the Rufus. And my comment is this. Yeah, Brother Black Voltron talked about this. He talked about the female rappers. I can go back further even to Queen Latifah and Sister Soldier. Now, say what you want. Queen Latifah was into having carpet on her floor instead of wood. But at least Queen Latifah and rappers like her and Sister Soldier, they had positive images of black women that they wanted to follow. And they had talent. The stuff that you see today is not talent. It's about who gets liked more. That's why they provoke the Lizzos and the Sukianas and so forth to push dysfunction. And honestly, I never even heard of this woman, Sukiana, before until I saw her endorsing that Cardi B Meg Thee Stallion video WAP.
Well, the thing is that Queen Latifah and MC Lyte and them, they didn't lead with their sexuality. They weren't wannabe porn stars masquerading as rappers. They were rappers who happened to be female. That's the big difference. Today, these are not women with a rap background. These are strippers, actresses, Instagram thoughts who are masquerading as rappers and trying to see if that can be the pathway to a little bit of change. But the difference with where we came from is those were rappers who just happen to be women. These ain't even rappers. These are just basically chicks trying to use sex and leading with sex because that's what you got to do when the talent is missing.
Oh, it's trying to.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller Miracle 646. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Onan from Queens.
Onan from Queens. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. There was a point that Tariq Nasheed made in one of his videos where he talked about the weaponization of sex and how the European used the weaponization of sex, specifically Alexander the Great. He used him as an example of basically white culture and white supremacists in specific, utilizing sex as a way to control the population that they're looking to dominate, right? So whether it be against the young men, right, sexualizing them at a young age, right, or whether it be rape against the women in order to establish superiority, is something that's been very effective, right? And then also getting back to the abortion point, right? If you look at the numbers of African Americans in this country and where it should be, right, but because of all the abortions, you have to understand that that type of behavior has been incentivized, as detrimental as it may be to the community. It's something that has been incentivized by the dominant society, and that's something that we do need to take into stock. And I just wanted to get your opinion about that.
Nothing happens accidentally. If you see something on a major website or whatever, that was deliberate. They don't pick up stories accidentally. There's a reason why certain things we put out there and whatnot, they got millions of views, hundreds of thousands of people around the country, and they're silent about it. So if something gets picked up by a major outlet or corporate outlet or whatever, that's deliberate. If something tries to go mainstream, that's not an accident. It never is. Understand that, folks. Never, 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 ever, not even once. If it gets picked up by the machine, that's because the machine put it out there. It's supposed to look organic, but it isn't. Their whole thing is to fool you and make you believe it's organic. Shout out to Charlemagne the God. Remember when Cardi B first started blowing up a few years ago? Remember what Charlemagne said? He said, hey, the machine has gotten behind her. He said, hey, I'm not blowing nobody's spot. He said, can we just tell the truth? The machine is behind her. She's about to take off because the machine has gotten behind her. Well, he was right. It is what it is. He ain't blowing up your spot. It's just, hey, baby, the machine is behind you now. We can see who brought you here. You've made too much progress too quickly. You can't do that organically. Y'all take a look at how long it took Kendrick Lamar to blow up. Nipsey Hussle to blow up. If the machine isn't behind you, you gonna drag. You sit up here and just take off like a rocket?
90 seconds.
The machine's behind you. The machine is behind you. Oh, they brought you. Those folks brought you. Caller Miracle 412. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I had a real bad delay earlier, and so I think I was over talking you. Can I make just one more quick point?
Okay.
Call
back next week. Caller Miracle 817. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, hey, can you hear me?
What is your name? Where are you calling from?
This is B1 Media Lifesaver. What's going on?
All right, brother. What's on your mind?
No, I'm just saying, I saw your broadcast. You ain't lying about that one, because most of these women that came up wrong, like, I look at these Suki Honda bras, I look at, these Megan Stallions, I look at all of them, I'm like, please, y'all wasn't nowhere near holding the candle like some of these women from Money in the Middle, like Shantae Roxanne, Queen Latifah, and none of them. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, please. We grew up on that.
Okay, did he get abducted?
10 seconds.
No, go ahead.
Okay, brother, well, I didn't say anything.
No, I was just saying, that's what I was saying, is that I grew up, we grew up in that era of, Money in the Middle, Shantae Roxanne, some of the females that we grew up on. And then, I'm looking at these Sukihanas, and I'm looking at, Meg Thee Stallion. I was talking, because I'm from the era of the old school term, and I look at some of these old school, and I talk to some of the truckers, and I'm like, these bras ain't what we used to grow up on.
Well,
So
I mean,
I just look at them like,
it's talent optional because remember in what you call the old days, late 80s, early 90s, when rap really took off, they had to come from the soil. Back then, we controlled it. And because we controlled it, don't let anybody ever tell you that the best quality products come from big corporations. Big corporations put out watered down generic stuff. Your high quality stuff comes from cottage industries. Your high quality stuff comes from small avenues where it's a custom product. It is a quality boutique custom product. What we had in the late 80s, early 90s was a custom product. It was an exotic product because quality control was tightly administered. You had to have backing. In New York, folk had to know you. You had to come up from the streets. We had distrust for individuals who we even sniffed you might have a corporate background. We had distrust for those individuals. We didn't just let anybody in. So everybody had to earn their bones. You had to have a rep in the street. You had to come from the soil. That was the difference. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. You had to come from the soil. You couldn't just get it from nowhere. So we had a natural distrust back then for anything that hadn't proven itself. You see, black culture was just that. It was a culture, but it was black. It belonged to us. That was the metric that we used. It was a culture, but it was black and it belonged to us. So we had strict quality control. And that quality control was enforced from the street level. So you just couldn't pop up out of nowhere. Nobody knows you. You got laughed out of the arena. You got laughed out the joint. Folk got to know you. You got to come up from the soil. You got to come up through the ranks. That's why battle rapping, you couldn't become a mainstream rapper if you didn't have battle rap credentials. You had to have battle rap credentials. We had to see you in the cypher. We had to see you in the circle. You had to prove that you could survive the blood sport before anybody took you seriously. You had to prove you could survive under the strictest conditions. You couldn't have somebody just come in with some money and throw you out there and okay, no, the people wouldn't accept you. The people would reject you. Today, everybody's trying to make a quick buck. Sex is a quick buck. Yeah, but sex isn't quality rapping. So you got folks out here masquerading as rappers trying to sell sex. And meanwhile, the true talent itself is not being promoted at the same level, which, by the way, is actually a good thing. But real talent is going to have to sell something else. Real talent can't sit up here and start giving in to the damn sluts, hoes, and strippers. Real talent's got to be like anime. You just got to stand on your square. Real talent has to take rap and turn it back into a boutique product that depends on rhyme skills and rhyme schemes and being a wordsmith. The real rappers have to take this back to the battleground that they can stand on, because you ain't never gonna out-slut the sluts. You're never gonna out-hoe the hoes. And you can't use them, well, sex sell, let's merge. No, you can't merge them together. You need to be doing something totally different. It's like having an action movie. There's no such thing as an action movie that relies on nudity. You can have a romance movie that relies on nudity, but an action movie can't do that. An action movie has to be what? Action. Sci-fi. You can't rely on bouncing breasts in a sci-fi movie. You've got to rely on your sci-fi credentials. Fight on the battlefield that you can win. The sluts will never be able to out-rhyme you, out-rap you, out-serious you. The hoes will never be able to do that. They will always be the sideshow. They will always be the imposters. So if you want to know why, quote-unquote, real rap hasn't been able to get his footing back because real rap is trying to figure out how to capitalize on the hoe trend rather than pushing the hoe trend to the side. The last dude we had who really was stomped down 10 toes deep did that was Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey, I mean, you go take a look at his videos. Nipsey wasn't relying on chicks bouncing their butt cheeks. Nipsey wasn't doing that. Nipsey got his and built it off of his abilities. He wasn't relying on the stuff y'all see from a bunch of other people. Nipsey wasn't doing that. Nipsey was straight about what he's doing. Turn the microphone on and let him do his thing. And take a look. The results ensued. Nobody could touch him because what he was doing was totally different from what you trying to do. Totally different. Caller from area code 901, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Rick from Memphis.
All right, Rick from Memphis, what's on your mind?
Two quick points. One thing I want to point out is this, to kind of piggyback off of what you were just saying. When Eve, the rapper Eve, came out, when she came out and everybody found out that she was a stripper, she tried to downplay that thing a ton. So that when it came time to get out the game and flip the switch and try to be the nice girl, she had already got in front of it. Now the paradigm has just shifted so much that it's now glorified. Then a second thing that I wanted to bring out is that for every person that's saying, well, this is just performance from Sukihana and it's separate from her own personal life, how would you feel if your spouse came home, your husband or your wife came home and said, yeah, I signed up to do pornography and it's just performance? You shouldn't feel bad about it because I really don't mean it. It just shows the hypocrisy of the argument that they're making. You can't separate these things. You're eventually going to have to be real on one side or the other. And, people have to stop thinking that in order to not lose the agenda that they're going to be able to split those hairs like that. You're going to have to walk.
Folks want to be honest when it's convenient and then sit up here and, oh, well, let me go ahead and flip the script when it's not convenient. What I'm saying is that's not adulthood. As men, we don't get to do that. And all this, oh, let me have my way when it suits me. No, just make it clear what you are. Don't blur no lines. Make it clear exactly what you are. Well, I don't want to do that. Why not? Because I need as much shock value as possible because I'm not really relying on talent. I'm relying on shock value. So I can't really afford for there to be clear lines. I need it to be kayfabe. I need you to believe that this is really who I am, even though I'm really just a kind of awkward square chick. I need you to believe that because otherwise, what am I selling? I don't have anything else to sell. So I'm not selling rhymes. That's for damn certain. And I'm not selling talented rapping. That's for damn certain. So if you force me to make a clear distinction between my marketing hook, which is booties and breasticles, if you force me to make a clear distinction between those two, I'm going to lose any reason for people to tune in to watch me at all. And that's what I'm scared of. And she's right. She would. And what I'm telling folks is, you know what? Let it be what it's going to be. Because that's what she wound up doing anyway. Now she's had to do the most devastating thing she had to do. She's had to come out and say, yeah, it's really an act. Yeah, there's really a clear line. And going forward, yeah, all this stuff that got me where I am, now I got to let it go. Think about that for a few moments. You put all this effort into crafting an image. And this is who you are. And over the course of 1 week, you watched it go up in flames. Because now going forward, you cannot stand by this image anymore. And you don't even get a grace period to ease into it. You just got to do it right now, cold turkey. Right now, tonight, cold turkey, she has to stop with the shenanigans. Now, that's something you got to ease into. Otherwise, you blow up your whole thing because it isn't like she's gained value as something else. It's not like folks saying, damn, she sure is good rapping. That hasn't happened. So if you force her to stop doing the sexual stuff, there's no reason to look. There's no reason to watch. Damn sure no reason to listen. Thank you very much for giving this call. Now, let me get caller Miracle 281. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Derek from Houston, Texas.
All right, Derek from Houston. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. Am I coming in clear? I'm out in the West Texas oil fields, and I know the signal can be pretty questionable.
You're fine,
out here.
sir.
Can you hear me okay?
You're fine. What's on your mind?
Okay, I was calling because I would think that you would have a different opinion concerning the population situation concerning us as a people.
I don't get
and the reason for that.
I don't get your point.
The reason for. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
I don't get your point.
Okay, good. I was going to explain what I meant. Okay, with the knowledge and wisdom you have on white supremacy, the thing I'm getting at is, would it be beneficial to let us know that we are growing, or to just tell us the opposite? And not just concerning our population, but anything concerning us doing anything that's good or that would be considered building.
Okay. Well, first of all, your government numbers are accurate for the most part. The reason why we know that they're accurate is because you couldn't make progress if you had inaccurate numbers. So you've got to communicate out to the whole society. The census is a communication to the entire society. What it lacks most of the time is context. But the context that black people look at it at and the context that white people look at it at is different. So first and foremost, the numbers are, for the most part, accurate. Are there some marginal discrepancies here and there? Sure there are. I mean, sure there are some marginal discrepancies, but for the most part, no, the numbers are the numbers, because without that, you can't be sure that your strategy is working. We know the strategy is working because we can take a look at places in America where we were very populous. And it's not like we went somewhere else and there's a whole lot more numbers just piled up somewhere else. You take a look at Harlem and New York, take a look at Detroit, take a look at Dallas, hell, increasingly Atlanta. So they keep track of the numbers because they got to make sure it's working. That's how they're like, ooh, we better bring in some, last but not least, bring in some more immigrants because the white numbers are clearly not keeping up. Now, by the way, you notice nobody ever disputes the white numbers going down. So if the numbers are not accurate, why is it that no one disputes the government saying, by the way, our white numbers are falling off precipitously? Nobody says, see, they lying. They don't want you to know how many white folks there is. You see what I mean? Nobody ever says
let me
that.
ask you this. I'm sorry, Jason. Let me ask you this. You do understand my reason for concern. I can't just be so trusting with it, with everything else that we have going on, including, just look at our history throughout the place. I mean, I'm not debating the numbers. I'm just saying you think that they may be off, and you gave your opinion on that, but understand my
the
concern.
numbers are, the numbers are accurate. I'm not understanding I don't really understand what your concern is, though. So maybe I need you to rephrase it or something, because I'm not understanding exactly what your issue is.
Well, that's just that I was just basically asking about, do you think that they are accurate? And you say that you think they are. I just don't know if I can trust it or not. That's just me.
Well, yeah, but you were talking about our numbers. You think our numbers you said that you were surprised by my position on it. What did you think my position would be?
Well, I would think that your position would be like it would be with anything else. Like, if it's something put out there about us, is it most likely going to be true, or is it something that's going to put out there to keep us from wanting to move forward, or something that's going to be discouraging? That's why I was just curious about it and not really just easily ready to jump on that and just agree with it.
No, because
without doing further research.
Here's the issue here. If these things were not true, if black folk were in reality the top 10% of earners, we'd see something different. That's not something you can really opine and, perspective your way through. If the numbers are not the numbers, then we'd be seeing something different on the ground. Case in point, we know that black folk have significant population numbers in Atlanta, but when you count the money, we're not really representative of as much of that as we should be. The major money is still moved by the white folks. So what you see is the numbers tell you the white population is not nearly as big as the black population, but the white population has the majority of the economics. And the numbers that they show pretty much bear that out down the line. So when they put out numbers about black folk, well, do you think they just put them out because they're negative? No, it's because we're in a system of white supremacy and the numbers are negative. And it's engineered. So the real thing is you get the numbers so you find out what the situation is, but why are the numbers bad? The numbers aren't bad because they're misreporting. The numbers are bad because this is engineered. You've been put in this position. And they're monitoring to make sure it works. This is why when you see them dropping off immigrants, they go where black folk are. We've got to make sure this works. So the numbers are reliable. The numbers are the numbers, and for the most part, they're reliable. Are there some marginal discrepancies? Sure there are. Is it to the extent that it's a 20-point difference? No. 10-point difference? No. 5-point difference? Not really. 3 or 4-point difference? Maybe. Now, once you get to that point, because remember, we're not just talking about government anymore either. You got think tanks and everything else that have crunched these numbers. We talk about median income. So, no, I mean, take a look at any city you're in. Tell me where the place is where that defies the numbers. That's like, wait a minute now, I got questions about this because over here, we're really killing it. Where would that be? If there was a black billionaires row, you know it. Is that not safe to say?
Indeed.
Okay. And if there was if the HBCUs were really black Ivy League, we would know that, wouldn't we?
I would hope so.
Okay. So would we even need the government, the media, or anybody else to tell us?
Well, no, not necessarily. I was just, like I say, I had some questions about it. Because, like I say, I do see some different things out there than what I hear on the media concerning a lot of other things concerning us. And that's why I just figured I'd ask your opinion on that.
Well, like I say, you might see some anecdotal things. You can cherry pick 1 or 2 people here. Problem is they are not indicative of representative of the society as a whole. It is, like I say, one of the things I've had to deal with since being an adult. People love to point to me and say, oh, Jason, you've done this, that, and the other, and black folk are doing well. And that's a lie. Jason Black's performance and how I'm living my life is not indicative of my people as a whole. Technically speaking, I'm anecdotal. You can find one Jason Black over here and then another Jason Black way out there somewhere. But you don't have enough of us to have a convention. There's not going to be a Jason Black convention. There's not enough of us yet to have one. I mean, there might be 3 or 4 of us who show up, but it's going to be it. I don't know how well I get along. There's probably going to be one of them at least I don't get along with. So the convention's going to be smaller before it's over, I imagine. But my point is, Oprah is an outlier. Your NBA stars and stuff, they're statistically insignificant because we all know that they're only going to make money as long as they're part of the league. And there wasn't any intellectual aptitude that got them there. It was a fluke of genetics. So they're only going to be outliers so long as they're in the league. Once they leave the league, what happens to them? Oh, they go back into the numbers again. With a few notable exceptions. Exceptions that you can really name them all because you know who they are. Everybody else disappears. Which is also borne out by the numbers. That when you're put back into the mainstream society and you don't have that protection of that contrived professional sports environment to boost you anymore, what happens to their numbers? They fall off a cliff. Yeah, we can name Shaquille O'Neal with his restaurants and his, car washes and things, but we can only name Shaquille. It wasn't like everybody else is coming out doing the same thing. You can name Magic Johnson with his theaters and stuff and, the Dodgers and things, but you can only name one. You can name Michael Jordan and his shoe deal, but really, we haven't had another Jordan since. It wasn't like Jordan hit big and then somebody came up behind him and knocked it out of the park. It ain't like that's happened. So in reality, the numbers are the numbers. Everywhere you go is borne out by that. I'll let you have the last word.
Okay. No, like I say, I appreciate your thought on that. And like I say, that was definitely a question I had to pose to you. Like I say, maybe they are correct. I'm not sure. Like I say, I just didn't have what I needed in front of me to confirm or, to necessarily confirm that. But I appreciate your thought on it.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Yeah, like I say, I mean, definitely the numbers are not encouraging, but the numbers are real. Now that you got a real world grounding of what the numbers are, now you know what to do about it, because now you know what the numbers are. I want to make a point here tonight, and like I say, I'm not calling on anybody to go to jail. I'm not calling on any of that. I think we as a people here, that's very, very important. Is another thing here that needs to happen is you need to be on code. These are things we need to handle in-house. This idea, the problem with being a female Karen, the problem with being a black female Karen is understand something. When them people decide to come for you, you ain't gonna want the rest of the society to have a word in that. You're not gonna want that. You're not gonna want the rest of the society to be able to weigh in on that, because I'm like, hey, Suki, we know things. Stop this black Karen talk, baby, because you don't want to make this a situation where the rest of the society leans in, because when the white women come for you, they're going to come to take you. And right now you think those are your sisters, and when they get an opportunity, they come in to take you down. So you don't want this to be that kind of situation. You don't want this to be a situation where other folk get to weigh in and you get hung out to dry. And don't worry, I'm going to hand you over to the white folk and they're going to do X. You don't want that to be the situation. This will go bad for you. This will go very bad for you. You always want this to be something that we resolve among ourselves. You know why? Because the dominant society doesn't let us step in to decide how they resolve things. Roman Polanski been running around for decades. Kevin Spacey's still on the streets. We can go down the list. See, when they do stuff like that, they don't want us weighing in and telling them how it should be. You leave us alone. We'll handle this how we going to handle it. Well, guess what? Over here, it should be the same way. Over here, it should be the same way. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here for you all tonight. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo. So thank you very much for your support tonight. We appreciate that. Shani, thank you very much for your support, sister, and everyone else there in the Super Chat. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, our Patreon website, the link is in the description. We do it every Saturday, 12 noon. Got a few choice things I want to say here as well. So definitely it may be in your interest to join us for that here tomorrow. Might be in your interest to do so. Tonight's been a teaching moment. Tonight has been a teaching moment, and I'm hoping that it is taken in that context. I'm not here to hand nobody over. I'm not here to bring nobody in on them. I want this to be a teaching moment for all of us. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.